for being, and also Anna. So we have representative from the council. Before we start, I just wanted to do a quick review of one of the things that we will not be talking about tonight. And that is, there is still lots of ongoing consultation going on about artificial turf, grass on the baseball field, on the whole park. And there are actually two different kinds of decisions. One of them has to do with the baseball field, which is more engaged with the school board, just because that's part of that agreement. And then whatever we might develop in terms of the actual park. And from what I understand, that is a decision that will be a little more down the road. This one may be sooner, but we're not in a position to decide. So we've had the opportunity to have additional presentations from different people, but I've reinforced the decision along with the manager and discussing it with the team here that that is not having any more presentations about the different alternatives is really not productive for us, because we are not in a position to make a decision about a contractor who might be the person who would be the person who actually does the. So if we had a presentation, it's of interest, but we're not in a position to do anything. So what I might do is, Ron, would you like to just make a statement about that? Or is there anything you would like to brief us on as we get started today?
Yeah, what the chair is alluding to is I was contacted by a contractor who's actually doing an artificial turf project in Key West at Bayview Park. And he wanted to make a presentation to answer some of the questions we've had about artificial or synthetic turf. The name of the corporation, ironically, is actually AstroTurf, which I keep joking about being archaic, but apparently it still is an AstroTurf corporation. He's the regional director and he wanted to come in. I said, well, thought maybe to come before this committee to answer questions, but as Carol and I talked about it, it's probably not good because since we're not picking the contractor, in fact, we're not even making the decision at this point whether it's grass or artificial. But basically, at this point, I'm just looking for answers to questions, and the school board has not yet even begun discussions with the synthetic turf vendors. But yet, we're getting a lot of questions. Alina's had some good points about the temperature of turf, about injuries. The doc has mentioned about injuries, whether it's better or worse to have turf versus grass. There's other issues about chemicals and things like that I want to have answers to. But at this point, what I'll probably end up doing is having another meeting of our baseball task force, and maybe that's probably a more appropriate place to have that discussion. So I do want answers to those questions before we see more going forward. But this committee is probably not the best place to have that discussion. So I agreed that we probably wouldn't want to have him appear tonight, and we will have a task force meeting, and maybe that's the best place to do it, because we want as many answers to these questions as possible. And it does have relevance, by the way, outside the baseball field, because the park master plan for Miller Lake does recommend that the soccer field, for example, become turf. And I have some concerns about that, let's just say, and I know the doc did too. And so I thought it'd be good to have that discussion overall, even if it doesn't affect directly the park. But we'll see going forward. I just want to keep you all in the loop, though. And as a side, since Alina is on the other task force, I'm still waiting to work with the school board on the use agreement and license agreement. So we want to get the wording right and who's responsible for what, and both short and long term. And I'll keep you on the loop on that too. Any questions?
No.
You want to speak into your mic, Dave?
All the subset stuff, like you're saying, task force, all that. If there's a new change of what we agreed to, whether it's here or at the council, I would think that should come back, which is just the big overarching, which is turf or no turf. What type it is and all those things, that's for experts to figure out. So I hope that does come back, though, if that's something.
Yeah, if there's any change, because you gave preliminary, not approval, but you kind of give a head nod that you were going to go with the turf. I know there was a long discussion you had at one of your meetings. I did take it to council, no official vote, but basically just gave direction to proceed. Although the final decisions are still need to be made by the school board and the council as far as whether it is going to be grass or artificial. Right now, the position of the school board is it's going to be turf, synthetic turf. And that's the assumption we're going under. But once again, there's still questions need to be answered. And then, have the advocates for grass come in, to our task force and answer questions there too. But at this point, I would bring any changes, major changes, I'd bring back to this committee and obviously the village council. But there just hasn't been much progress. Ever since I informed the district that I was going to recommend, it's not my decision, but I recommend the elimination of the second building, the multi-use building. Not much has happened since then. And so I want to, I've told them we're ready to proceed, but it's kind of the ball's kind of in the school district's field as far as making progress. But I've said once again that we want to have an agreement that says whatever goes there, grass, artificial, should be entirely responsibility of the school district. Well, that's right now. That's what we're talking about, and there's nothing in writing. There's no proposal yet, but we can talk. But my position is at this point, I want the school district to be responsible for it, the maintenance of it, not the use of it, but the 12 months. If you want to have a discussion, we'll talk after the meeting. But things like that. And then I don't have the schedule yet for the baseball team. We need to have the schedule done, things like that. But and then the replacement, I think that came one of the meetings, that replacement, let's say for argument's sake, it is artificial, that replacement of it would be a capital expense, not maintenance. So the school district would be, if they did do turf, they would be responsible for any replacement in 10 years from now, whatever. Because that was a question, whether that's maintenance or it's capital. And in my opinion, it'd be a capital expense, responsibility of the school district.
Well, and I think that our analogy that we had in, I think maybe the last meeting, of a distinction between a BlackBerry and an iPhone 27 or whatever it might be, is it's easy to talk in generalities, but until there's actually a contractor who will speak about exactly what they are looking to do, we're just kind of talking with, we're not the guys who are going to manage that decision. So that's the reason we will. And the other thing is, there's been no direct report from the side of budget and the real grass side as to what is the budget, what's required, what is the runoff, what's all the rest of that. So we're still in preliminary conversations. And I just felt it was appropriate to make sure that everybody knows nobody's not looking at it. It's just not today. Doesn't seem to be where we are right this minute.
And I thought the interesting thing is there's actually an ongoing project in City of Key West at Bayview Park. I grew up down the street from there. And I go on the weekends down to Key West to visit family. And I've been watching it. They've taken out the grass. They put down some other stuff. Now the sand's there. So I'm actually every weekend seeing the progress of it's going to be synthetic. And if you think it's a hot issue in Islamorada, grass versus artificial, go to Key West and talk about that. It's very contentious. But the point is, if anybody wants to actually go down to Key West and take a weekend trip, you can see artificial turf being put into a ball field comparable to our ball field. So it's a work in process. And I just think it's interesting. So you can see the actual, it's one thing to talk about, to go down and see with your own eyes. It might be interesting to see the substrate and all the drainage things they're going to be doing as they're going. And I'll try to get updates from the city of Key West on it, because I can't go all the time there. But I just think it's a good case example of how they do things. There's also some bad examples. Tommy Roberts Field, I was there for a football game. They had to move it because of the drainage situation. They couldn't play the game there. And so they're making mistakes we want to avoid up here. I'll leave it at that.
Great. Any comments from anybody on the committee?
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Ron. Anything else that would be helpful for you to present for us? Any other topics that you'd like to cover for us?
No, at the next council meeting on October 7th, Miller Lake is presenting to the village council their final draft of the master plan. And so it's not public yet, so you're getting an advance. I'm still setting the agenda, but that is planned to be on the agenda for October 7th here.
Great.
And once again, and there's a question about what actions can be taken, because I have concerns about saying we're adopting the plan or approving it, Because I know personally, there's some things in there that I don't necessarily think are good ideas. But the final decision is up to the council, but I'm saying just the plan itself, like there's a multi-story building like around here that I know there's a lot of opposition to. The question of whether you're going to put turf on the soccer field. So things like that, I think there's going to be some hot discussion on. So we may just be accepting the plan, but not adopting or approving it, because I think that has an implication that we're agreeing to things. When I say we, I mean the village council or the village, but the council has the ultimate say on what actually does happen. But I think I'm concerned, just what I've seen, some of the things in there that I think may go against what I heard from the public as far as what they do or don't want, like a big multi-story building right here. But other than the master plan, I don't know of anything else that, in particular, unless you have something that you want to bring up to me. The other thing I'd give you an update on, by the way, Maria and I talked, is that I did have discussions with Mr. Russell and Mr. Hammond on Friday, and they do want to move ahead with making improvements to the building at the end of the first baseline, that has the building right out here. And so they are going to try to have it ready for this baseball season. Because remember, whatever happens on the baseball field is like after this season. It's like a year away before they even do anything. And so this is going to be more immediate. And Richie, I guess, is the one that had the information for me that they are planning on going in there and making improvements. Because Marie and I had talked about maybe air conditioning, some things over there. Apparently the district is going to take that up. So, which is good news from our standpoint, because it's a nice building, and I had our building official look at it. It's in great shape. It's a solid building. There need to be some improvements done, but since it's part of the park, I'm bringing it up to you guys because technically I think the building may be owned by this district or was built by the district, but it's on our property. So they're going to have to come to us, obviously, for permits or whatever. So I don't have the details, and Richie may have more details than I do because I heard it from Richie. So, but there are some plans, I guess, for that building, just for an update. Do you have anyone to add that, Richie? I don't have much more.
No, sir.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Any other issues you want to talk about?
On acquisition side, the department store lot, for better term.
Silver and Spice?
Silver and Spice.
Okay.
Has there been any movement? Because that was something within the park side, before the water stuff was going on and we were renting it and all that kind of stuff. That was possibly going to go into the park system, depending on, the fire departments and all this other stuff. So I didn't know, has there been anything going on there?
Not from a park standpoint. I think the discussion has been at least have some parking there, because when they first bought it, I actually found plans for making all parking. There's a site plan for
Yeah.
making a big parking lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the best use for it. There's been discussion about putting a civic center there or some type of building on one of the lots and parking the other two. But as far as making it a park, I don't see a lot of impetus for that. But by the way, speaking of parks, we are looking at making some improvements to Southwind Park. That's like, most people don't even know it's there. I've been there a couple of times. It's a really nice little park. I'm talking about Southwind.
Mhm.
And we're looking at maybe doing a sculpture there or something just to get more people there because it's a wonderful park. And I think I've maybe seen 3 people there in the last 5 months. So we want to improve that park. I mean, I guess that comes under you do all the parks, right? Parks Rec?
I believe so.
Yeah.
There's-
I did, one part.
Southwinds on Upper Matacumby. Southwinds Park. It's kind of tucked away. I mean, it's right on US 1 between the old highway. Like, so I stopped there one time just to see it, and it's very nice. It's just that nobody ever uses it.
People dog walk there a lot.
We had once asked Pete Frezza about that, and I was surprised to hear him say that that is designated as conservation lands, which means we're somewhat restricted in the type of improvements that we can make. And I freely admit I was caught off guard that it was designated as conservation lands. He said he could look into having that designation changed or removed.
I don't know that we need to. I don't expect that we would be putting anything on it. There may be like a sculpture. Yeah, but no buildings, whatever, because I think the natural state is nice. It's just underutilized. Most of the people I talk to don't even know it's there.
Let's be careful on the structure, the art.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of that, if you notice at mile marker 80, I did approve a landscaping project around those 3 sculptures. I think everybody, the consensus is you meant it like the sculptures, you like the landscaping. So we did move forward with that. So wasn't my idea for those sculptures there, but it is what it is.
Well, So I know, I get it that the parks don't own that property or it's not even.
But it's a village
safe-
property, yeah.
Right, village property. So I'm just saying, as you go down the path, parking lot next to, the Sano factory and all that kind of stuff, just bring us in, I think, because there is other ideas that it's not a park, but it could be a lot of other things too.
Well, and just, I think most of you know, but we did have a village workshop on lands owned by the village. In particular, the three were the church, Silver and Spice, and the Machado property
Mhm.
across from Hershoff Lapino.
Yep.
And so we think that probably Machado is going to be housing because that's what they use the money to buy. And so I think that'll end up being housing. The church, that's up in the air, maybe housing, maybe something else. I think Silver and Spice has got the most ideas, housing, parking. I don't think a park, just because we paid almost $3 million for it. And I think that we want to get some type of beneficial use out of it.
Well, when I say park, again, it could be, I mean, if you go to Ocean Reef, we have grass and we have food trucks to,
Mm.
so there's things that you can do that use that property to grab. And I've talked to the chamber about this, to grab some of the people out of Chica and the Islander
Yeah.
and those guys to come back into town. And so that's what I mean when we talk about, putting.
And when I say park, I think the best example of parking lot I've seen is the Island Community Church. I've been there a couple of times, and the new park, if you haven't been there, it's one of the nicest parking lots I've seen it, but it's natural. It's got landscaping, gravel, there's nothing paved there. So I think that's an example of when we do parking. And by the way, speaking of parking, I'm looking at pilot projects for paid parking in the village and improving some of the parking places, and so that doesn't really affect you guys. I don't think there's anything in the parks, but it impacts you as residents, I guess.
But, okay, so the last piece to that is, we just want to talk about it because DOT is paying attention to what we're doing, obviously. And if we build more parking, they could take rights away. Some of our DOT lanes that we're fighting really hard in Amarada to keep.
Well, I attended the county commission meeting,
Yeah.
when they talked about the four laning and the village actually we had a Vice Mayor Horton spoke. We had a couple other council people there, and they expressed strong opposition by the village of any four laning in the village. We can't control obviously what's going outside the village, but I think DOT got the message that we don't want to give up any more right of way. In fact, I think there were 50 businesses that would have been impacted. Their parking would have been taken away. And obviously, the rationale was because we have a low level of service for the traffic, and we are the three worst segments in the Keys, but that is what it is. But four laning, I don't think would have been the right solution to that. And so the official position of the council, including Council Member Richards, was to strongly oppose any four laning in Alamorado. So that's kind of off the track what we're talking about, but I do understand what you're saying. And we're in discussion with DOT almost every day. I had some other things we're talking about with DOT. So-
build parking, you realize that?
No, we're not going to build, other than Silver and Spice, we're not really building parking. We're making use of a lot we own. What I'm talking about is like on the old highway and all. Right now, there's some spaces that are we have some no parking signs up too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at maybe converting, but people may park there anyway. So we'd rather have it be maintained by us and controlled by us as opposed to just having it willy-nilly where some people might park a trailer there, which is not inappropriate. I'm not singling any place out. We all know what we're talking about. But I think, and plus we want to start running the village more like a business. And if we have some opportunities to increase our revenues and keep our taxes down, that's the direction I've got from the council is, we want to do everything we can to keep property taxes down, but then looking at other ways we can increase revenues, like the marina, maybe making that more profitable because that is an enterprise zone and things like that, where we can use those monies instead of having to raise taxes because we all hate property taxes.
Well,
Even
that,
realtors.
that moves us into one of our major topics for today also.
Well, the fee structure, I mean, Maria and I've been talking about that because, we do have some opportunities for to do some improvements here in the park, but we want to make sure we have revenue sources for that too. So that I strongly support, Maria's efforts to get our fees in line, particularly when it comes to non-residents. I mean, I think everything we can do for residents, we should do. They own the park, but the non-residents, the visitors, we should look at making them pay whatever we consider, whatever you guys and the council consider to be a fair share. Because I think right now we may not be getting that. And since I work right across the way, I see how much this park is used and y'all did a great job with it, but you know, we have some opportunities to raise some revenues there and the marina. We should look at that.
Is there any progress with AJ moving his vehicles over to the old church?
Yes, I know that the Green Turtle Hammock is not technically a park, but you know, we want to make it more of one. And so we did a little surprise site visit. I guess last week, week before, I took our building official, planning director there and told Public Works that they had immediate directive to move everything out of Green Turtle. They've already started. We went to the church. If you go by the church, the old church, the back parking lot is filling up with all the equipment from Green Turtle. So that is an active, and maybe not as quickly as I want, but yes, the Green Turtle I went there today. I went there last week. Green Turtle is being vacated by Public Works.
How about back here?
Yeah.
That's next on the list. I wanted both of them, but AJ told me that basically he doesn't think there's enough room at the church for both Green Turtle and this. So as an aside, Mr. Realtor, I have been looking informally at other locations where we can move Public Works. I don't think the church will fit everything that he has, that Public Works has, but we are looking at a couple other sites where maybe we can rent or something where, because we definitely want to get them out of here. I mean, that's in the master plan. That I think everybody agrees on that one. They shouldn't be here. But the question is, where's there to go? And as you know, there's not a lot of places, at least affordable, that we can move Public Works. So I'm looking at different options, but if you have any ideas, I'm open to them because we want to get them out of here. And I don't necessarily, and I think the master plan says put them on the hill. I don't really like that idea either because that's a really nice area. It should be more natural, not make it more junky because it is junky right now.
Yeah, the only one that comes to mind right now is just the Sands property. I don't know how much room they have left because they have been doing
That's
some
that's one
other
of the
rentals.
properties I looked at, but apparently they entered into a lease with somebody else. I'm not sure how long the lease is. And so right now there's not enough room for us to go there. I was approached by a former council member, I think it was a former mayor, and Phillipson, who apparently he had looked into it and talked to George Sands, and they came back and said, too late. He's already rented out a major portion of it. But that's an example of where we're looking. There's some other places that Aqueduct's currently using for storage, the contractors are, that we may look at too. But we definitely want them out of the park.
We talked about the north of the way station.
Yeah.
On that side though,
Yeah.
because he owns that as well. That they've been using, don't fill them.
The problem with that, we don't know how long how long that's going to be going on.
He owns it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know we're kind of
Ron.
getting off the.
No, no, no. Well, I think
But
this
I
is
told you I'd answer any
helpful.
questions, so that's fine.
No, this is helpful to kind of clear the deck of things that we may be hanging over our heads so we can move to
But to go back
this.
to reiterate, strongly, I've suggested at this point, and that's not direction, that AJ get his stuff out of here. But the problem is where to take it. We have the church, we're doing a structural analysis on the church for inside the church, but the parking lot, it's filling up. If you want to go by there after the meeting, you look at that back parking lot. I went by there and a lot of the equipment has been moved from Green Turtle over to the church.
Great.
Anything else?
Anything else? Christy, and I don't remember who else is online, but if you guys have anything, please speak up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, it's Natasha Early. The only thing I thought about while we were talking about South Winds, I feel like that park did used to be thriving when the Alamorada Foundation had it. And now, yeah, it's pretty desolate. I always enjoyed when the Christmas lights were there. And I know I mentioned that to Pete and he was going to kind of look into it. So I don't know if maybe that's something that could happen again in that area. They had really pretty lights all down the palm trees. And then just thinking about another way to get maybe people there is having something like a little art box there, kind of like how people have like a, with the library books, like give a book, take a book, like have that, but like an art setup where you can kind of get little art supplies there. I don't know, just an idea. But that's it while we were talking about South Winds.
And my recollection of the council meeting was that when we were looking at our contract for holiday lights, would be maybe to have something at South Winds where rather than putting out lights out, I think they talked about having a contest with students or something, for the lighting. I don't remember what the details were, but I think it was South Winds they were talking about. Is that your recollection, Maria? Okay. I'm saying Southwinds would be a nice place to do something like that because as I said, I think it's a great spot, but not nobody, but there's very little usage of it. And I think, we want to get more people there, and there's parking too. I mean, it's not a lot of parking, but there's more parking than, I said very little, but there's some parking there. And there's some surrounding businesses, I'm sure, that would be open at certain hours, letting people, if there's like a holiday thing you want to do there, they probably be open-minded to letting us use some of that. So,
Great.
I don't know if that answered the question. I was having a hard time hearing it.
Yeah.
I'll second that Natasha's comment. You know how I think if you wanted to attract people there, tourists and community members, having some kind of Christmas lights or something that you might go and stop and have your picture taken in front of, just like they do in front of the Hurricane Monument. People go there, take their picture and post it. I think that is a super idea to use that park.
Great. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Ron. There's nothing else. Okay. Maria, are there any other emergency agenda? Anything else besides because we have a very important core item to handle. So is there public comment? Is there anybody here for no public comment? Okay. In that case, let's move then to the staff report. And if you'll bring us up to date on pool stuff and all the rest of the things. You guys have done a lot of work on this. So I will turn this over to you, Maria, Annie,
All right.
whatever's next.
Yes, we'll go ahead and then load up the presentation. Is my mic working?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. All right. So as you're aware, we have been tasked by Village Council and our village manager during our budget workshops with evaluating ways to increase revenue through our existing user fees and to explore any additional revenue opportunities.
And Annie, could I interrupt you just for a minute? And this is for clarity for me, because I didn't realize for a long time that the park is not by itself a self-sustaining operation. The park is part of the general fund. So when we go saying, is the park making enough money? This is a part of the general fund, and it is a part of the commitment by the village that the park be a representation of village responsibility and that it's available to us. But this does not have to be a self-sustaining fundraising thing. Now, did I say that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Because for
Yes.
a long time, I was unclear about that.
Right.
And so just as some background, does that make sense to everybody?
That's
So this
exactly-
is general fund,
Mhm.
but money that is allocated for the park
Right.
as part of the general commitment of the general budget.
That's
And the
Okay.
marina is not included in that, correct?
That's
No, the
right,
marina is a separate department and they are an enterprise fund, so very different.
right.
Exactly what you said. This is service driven. The everything in our budget is to cover the operations. All of the fees that we collect are, help to offset it, but it is the general fund, not directly earmarked to certain, services.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you
Yeah,
for,
thank you for,
that was helpful
that-
for me to understand long ago. So thank you.
yes.
Okay,
All right. So, and obviously with that, our goal is to offset that budget and operational impacts while ensuring the continued quality and sustainability and accessibility of our parks and recreation facilities as we face rising costs in maintenance, staffing, and utilities. So we've kind of begun these conversations over the last few meetings, but we have come up with, I think, a good outline and a phased approach to looking at this. So starting in phase one, which we'll go over a lot of these this evening, we'll talk about our park admission policies and procedures, our contractual service providers. That is one that we are hoping to get some support on tonight as their contracts have to be renewed for October 1st. And then moving into our daily admissions, memberships, park facility rentals, pool team rentals, and a few new fees that we have. So overall, this is all of, covered in this report will be everything, all of our existing fees, and then a few new ones. And then phase 2 would be looking at our special events policy. And that one, there's just no way we could have covered that tonight, and it will take probably more time to evaluate and analyze, and bringing in, having maybe some workshops. That's a heavier topic, and needing, making sure that all stakeholders are involved, charitable organizations, those that do events here in the park. So our current fee structure and special events policy, well, our existing admission policies have been in place since the park was incorporated and began. Our current fee schedule and the special events policy was established in 2007. We did started reevaluating it in 2018. It was just after Irma. And so the manager then had decided that we should probably table this. It's not the right time to increase user fees after we're still recovering. So then when we came back in 2020 to do that again, of course, then we had the pandemic. So again, it was the direction to now is not the right time to be adjusting them. People are recovering from, pandemic and loss of jobs and all of that. So here we are finally evaluating them, and we look forward to hearing your inputs. Okay, so our park admission policies. So currently, Founders Park allows for free access for all Islamorada residents. So that's property owners, long-term renters, as well as any resort, hotel, motel, or rental home guests. So if you're staying here in Islamorada and can show proof of it, you are allowed free access to the park, and then pay a small fee to use the pool, the resident rate to use the pool. All other non-resident visitors pay park entrance fee, and then the additional pool fee if they wish to use the pool. We do have elevated prices for holiday weekends. That includes Easter, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day. And then we have elevated prices for our summer weekends, Memorial Day through Labor Day. And then the non-resident, we have a certain rate for non-resident memberships as well. We do offer a military, full discount for military. And so that is a waived fee for the park and the pool for active military, veterans with honorable discharge, veterans with service-connected disabilities, and up to 4 immediate family members. So this evening's considerations throughout, we have some recommendations on fees, and then a lot of items that we'd just like to kind of have a starting point and have your feedback on. Our staff has completed a comparative review of all the user fees across several municipal parks and aquatic facilities in South Florida. As you know, there's really no direct comparison to Founders Park. We're uniquely positioned with all of our sports amenities, the Olympic-sized pool, and the beach all being on one property is pretty unique. And we proudly consider us the crown jewel. So yes, we don't feel there's a direct comparison. But in our review, there was a wide range of fee structures across the region. So many municipal parks are open free of charge for both residents and non-residents. Admission fees for the aquatic centers range. And again, we kind of looked at these in comparative to, what parks have the same amenities, and then the aquatic facilities as well, same size, same features, Olympic size. So we did compare those. And so those ranged anywhere from $3 to $18 for adults. So with that in mind, with the beach access policies, that also varied. A lot of them were free access, and then some of them were metered parking. So while you didn't have to pay an entrance fee, you paid for parking. So that's another area. So I would say with that in mind, what we're proposing is not to become an outlier, but bring our fees in line with regional market while still preserving the community first spirit of our parks. So our core goals, I think, in the threefold. We'd like to maintain balance of usage of our facilities, so keeping them welcoming, accessible, and overcrowded. Ensure consistency in annual revenues, so to support the operations. And then perhaps most importantly, strike the right balance. So while an increase in fees is necessary, we do want to ensure to not overprice ourselves or place ourselves, be an outlier and place an undue burden on our residents. So that was kind of our thought process going into this. So as we move forward into fees, some of the considerations, obviously maintaining resident and resident guest access as the community benefit taxpayers. We don't want to change that. Some of the things that we discussed at previous meetings was the idea of a new daily rate for Monroe County residents, our neighbors. And then the membership fee increase of up to 30%. So when we look at these fees, we don't see it going, we would not recommend raising that any further. So that was just kind of the high end to start with, and we'll get your feedback on whether you think that's too high or we should come down. But at that rate, having not adjusted over the years, it really, in comparison, kind of, it puts us at that market rate. And then the other item to discuss and consider when we were tasked to come up with, where else, how can we produce more revenues? One of the immediate things, and not that we're recommending, but something to consider is our access policy, allowing all Islamorada hotel and rental home guests the free access. So that we can say if we were to start charging, that would definitely have an impact and increase in revenues. So again, just putting that out there for discussion, considering that may be something, and obviously at the council level to consider, and maybe other stakeholders as well, to have a more conversation on that, more public input.
That, just to kind of weigh in on it, that policy was established, as Annie said, when the park was originally built. So it's a policy that the original council developed, and I thought it was a good policy because just to generate more tourism, allow for tourism that come to Islamorada, promote Islamorada as a tourist destination, come to stay in our hotels, and you get free access to the park. So that was something that was originated from the beginning. And
That was 25 years ago?
yeah, 25 years ago.
Just checking.
Yeah.
And believe me, it's used. The park is definitely used by our tourists and our hotel guests and so forth. So it's something to consider. It's
Question on that, is the amusement tax that the resorts, does that go to us at all, county? Like on the amusement tax for hotels? The TDC money, yeah.
Mhm.
Does that come here?
Yep.
Yeah, we do have a lot of projects. We do apply for a lot of their grants, and we are usually awarded a good amount. So that's one of the ideas, I don't know how that would, would disqualify us, or would that be frowned upon?
Yeah, I would want to make sure we know before we do it.
Right, right. So those are some of the other things to consider.
So go ahead. I want to make sure you get through, and then what I
Sure.
want to make sure is that we handle these issues in the top priority that you have, which I
Yes.
know has to do with your immediate timeline and the contractors, so that we handle that. So
Yes.
you go ahead. Yeah.
Exactly, and I kind of have them in that, sorry. In that order. So again, the kind of the immediate conversation and hope for support in our professional service provider. So we have several of our programs that are offered by contract instructors. So they're not direct employees of the village. So they're on contract. And that would include our fitness, free diving instruction, developmental and learn to swim programs, springboard diving, synchronized swim club, tennis and pickleball, youth swim club, adult master's program, and water aerobics. So a big chunk of what we do here. And so with that, and how that works The contractors we have an agreement, they are to provide recreation and instructional services, and that would include private and group lessons, clinics, camps, clubs, meets, tournaments, leagues, and other special events. They are really, it's their business. We're here to support their business and using the facilities. Their overall program growth, I mean, again, it's their business. They are responsible for that. And our give back of the agreement would be, again, providing the facilities, the space for the program, storage space, a bulk of the administrative support, that is their registration processing. So we handle all of the paperwork, the collection of fees, so all of the registration. And then we do provide promotional support as well. So we do promote them on all of our village websites. We create their flyers, some of their content. We put them on the marquee, all of our social media accounts, and even our direct marketing contacts. So outside of that, of course, they can go beyond with other recruitment efforts as well. So it's a good relationship. It definitely, our programs are really top notch here. So we do want to keep with all of our current providers. But one of the things we're looking at, again, our current contract split is a 90% or 10% is retained for the village, of the 10% of the funds collected are retained by the village, and then we pay out that 90% to the contractor. And that split has also been in place since these programs were established, since these contracts started. And some of them have been here for the 20 plus years as well. So we are, it's really kind of a time as costs have gone up. We are also, in the supportive side for them, we are actively working on building out a recreation management software, which will be amazing for the department. It will streamline all of our processes, allowing for self-service on the website for registrations and payments of programs, allow for better reporting. Right now, things are definitely a little antiquated and, just a lot more efficiency. So we're happy to have that coming on, but that is an expensive service as well.
When I see Alicia shaking her head actively,
She's excited.
It's gonna
We're
make
all
our
excited.
lives much easier.
Yeah. So that is on the horizon. So with that, and again, the overall conversation of increasing revenues, looking at increasing that percentage by 5%. So the village would retain 15% of the funds collected, and then the instructor would be paid out 85%.
So that is our recommendation, the staff's recommendation. We've been, just so you know, we've been talking to our contractors about this the last 2 weeks. So we are in discussion with our contractors. So this is not a surprise. And we do have a very good working relationship with all of them. And we want to continue that. And they provide an excellent service to this community. And we definitely want to keep them happy as well. And we think this increase is, it's a slight increase, and it won't hurt them in their pocket as much as, we don't want to raise it to a point where it's going to really hurt them. If we increase it to 20% or 25%, I think it would affect their program and their participation rate and all that. And that's something we don't want to do.
That's what I was going to ask. Is this going to make them increase a substantial amount on their fees that are paid to them?
And through the discussion, some of them said we may have to raise the fees some. Some of the contractors said, no, I think we're still fair. So it'll be up to the contractor to decide on those rates. But again, we would work with them on that.
This is Christy. I just want to make a comment. I do think it's kind of a drag. I mean, it really is. It amounts to a pay decrease for the instructors, and surely that's got to be passed on to their students, So I felt like I needed to say it, It's a bummer.
That's an accurate statement.
Have we evaluated what their fees have gone up over the past several years? Because I'm sure their fee structure's gone up and ours hasn't, so.
I would
Yes,
say some of the program fees have gone up slightly through the years.
yeah.
Um, the tennis, I believe the tennis program raised their fees a little bit last year. They've been gradually going up every year, but not substantially. We
Yeah,
don't-
this is Christy. I can speak to tennis because I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on tennis over the last 10 years for my kids and myself. And the rates the rates are reasonable. And they haven't gone up a lot. You know, I hate to see, I just hate to see a pay decrease for the instructors. That's all.
Yeah, because we're talking about 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
5%.
Would it be possible, I know this is the first thing that we're looking at,
Mhm.
to look at the other fee increases first? Because this one will likely translate to cost from our community families.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna likely have to pay a little bit more for things as they make less. So maybe we can table this one, and look at other ones like the rentals and things like that, where we can increase. And then come back to that and see if we can make up the cost somewhere else.
I love that. Cause it's a 50% increase for the instructors. That's a 50% increase in what they pay to the village. So I would rather see the cost borne by non-residents.
I'd like to offer a couple of thoughts, somewhat echoing Shannon. If we could consider a differential approach depending on, frankly, whether it's adults or youth. And I don't feel I have a conflict of interest, even though I'm part of the adult master swim, I'm willing to pay more. But if you have any program geared to adults, and I'm not picking on any of these programs, again, this affects me too. Water aerobics, adult master swim, tennis and pickleball, fitness programs run by the lady during the winter. These are adult oriented programs where we make a decision and say if the instructor has to raise their fees to cover the costs, well, I'm an adult, I make the decision, I'm going to pay more monthly and know that I'm helping to support founders and thereby offset some of their cost increase and separate out any youth programs. John Olson has a much larger high school swim team this year. I think Rich would back me up on that. He's added a considerable number of youngsters, and I would love it if some of these youngsters, when the high school swimming program ends, if they would continue swimming with FKSC during the rest of the year, and hopefully we could keep our prices lower for the kids in that youth swim so that it would be more affordable if any parents are on the fence as to whether or not they can afford it. Likewise, I will also use the example of Kelly. Kelly started with nothing, zero. There was no springboard diving here at Founders Park 2 years ago. And now she has built what appears to be a healthy, thriving program, not only Aaron with the high school, but when I'm here in the afternoons, I see her with 10 or 12 youngsters in her private free diving program. And then finally, the other example I would use is how well Isla Crawford has done with her synchronized swimming program. Those youngsters have done very well competing at the national level. I would hate to see her have any of her youngsters who are participating have their parents faced with the increased costs. Oh, can I keep putting my daughter in that? Because they've done well. She's taken them along well. If we could separate out some way, hey, the adults make a decision, an adult decision, I'll pay a little bit more to use this vendor from the park. And for the children, okay, we're going to cut it. I realize that would give you two fee structures to contend with, but I would at least put it out there for your consideration. And before I turn off my mic, I would wholeheartedly endorse entrance fees and user fees for hotel and house rental guests. Before I moved down here, I came to Founders while staying in various hotels and condo and house rentals, and they gave me a little placard that I can get. I think it's reasonable to expect those people to pay. I would rather see that fee increase and save a little money on the youth. And as an adult who uses it, again, I feel no conflict of interest. I would be paying more. I'd rather see me paying more than some kid trying to learn springboard diving or swimming. Thank you.
Yeah, very good points.
I agree with John.
Okay.
Very good points. I think if you're, a resort guest or even in a rental home, you can afford it.
Right.
Well, we've kind of got two separate things.
Yeah.
But both of which are very valid. Let's hold that one for just a second and come back to John's point, which I think is excellent. I think that's a very good distinction, that programs that are focused on local youth, which is really what it is. So those programs that are focused on local youth and those people that are coaching and have actually created those local youth programs, that I see as a good, clear distinction between an adult program, which has been created by the contractors also. But I think that's a very good distinction that I think we can look at. The second one that you're talking about, Lena, is.
No, I was saying yes to both.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a kind of a second issue that
Mhm.
let's handle that one because that's a separate issue.
And from what
Right.
Shannon said too, is that maybe we can not look at changing
Right.
the split and look at creating other fees somewhere else. And not
Right.
really, and then keeping the 90-10 split the same and make up different fees somewhere else. Could be non-resident. So you don't have to, we don't have to adjust that. So, no, it's a good conversation and I think it's good to continue. We could always go back.
Well, don't I hear a time-sensitive decision, however, that you all need to make in terms of renewing the contract with the contractors, with the various
We can go
vendors?
back to it
Yeah.
after the meeting. I mean, later in the meeting.
Yeah, but you've got a timeline. You've got to decide.
Well,
Today, yeah, today.
Why don't we do it?
We can
go
back.
through the rest
Yeah.
of the fees and then revisit it once we've seen things and if we decide that we support keeping it the same for this year, we can
Keep
also,
the same.
we can keep it the same for this year and evaluate that further for next year's.
Well, I did have one thing on the subject, sliding scale for, low income. I've had a few people ask me, I actually gave somebody a couple $100 because I wanted their kid to learn how to swim. He was 2 years old. I can't find it anywhere here where they have a sliding scale, for somebody that's in habitat or
Right.
these homes. That's really important. We need the young kids to learn how to swim. So I haven't heard anything in the village for that. If there's a program, if we have to create a grant or something.
Right.
I understand the instructors get paid as a contract, so they don't work for us, so we can't
Right.
do anything.
We can't force them to,
But
right.
yeah, I think it's kind of sad that a kid has to go to Key Largo to go learn how to swim because they have a sliding scale up there, or they do, they do. that.
Okay.
So
That's a
I
good-
just wanted to bring it up.
Recommendation.
Yeah, it's something I heard about at the time.
Do you want any motions as I sometimes do, or do you want to just take it with the discussion?
I think we can just continue the discussion and we could go back.
Do you want to complete your presentation since we sidelined you? I just want to be responsive to the fact that
Yeah.
I know you've got a timeline on these contractors?
Yes, before we leave, it would have a good,
Before we
it
leave
would be good to
today?
have a consensus of the committee of what you'd like to see that be.
Okay.
So we can move through it. So I did throw up on this slide, and you do have it. I did print you guys a copy of what's on the slides. And this is the overall contractual service providers. This is their overall income. Unfortunately, again, our system's very antiquated. So our swim instruction profile, it includes 3 of our contractors, the Florida Keys Swim Club, John Olson, our Learn to Swim with Colleen, and then the master's program with Jen. So that amount, that is the total revenue coming in for those programs. And so that's before the 10%. So that just gives you an idea. Again, if, I wouldn't say, obviously tennis is a very successful program, whereas these other ones are much smaller. So that impact, like you said, could be greater. And so we're open to the idea of what you're saying, keeping it the same, and we can maybe offset and just in the other areas where we're increasing. So we'll keep that in mind, I guess, as we go through, and then we can come back, and if you're still in support of that, that's what we'll do. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is our membership rate sheet, and I thought this would be kind of the easiest way to display the information with the changes, and we can, if you need to, I know that screen's probably hard to see from your chair. So I did in your packet give you that sheet. So we do offer a variety of memberships so the resident, again, they have free park access, and to the far right, you'll see what they pay for the pool. And so the daily rates, we were looking at raising, and again, all of these are proposed at 30. This is the 30%. And so that would be the maximum that we would want to bring it to. If you felt that that was too big of an increase, we could go down, but this was comparable to what the market rates were. So looking at the daily fees. So for the youth or senior age, going from $2 to $3, the adult fee daily fee going from $3 to $5. And then getting into our 3-month option, annual options, and then our 10-pack punch cards. So if you want to, I don't know if you want me to read these off or you guys want to just kind of review them, but if that, kind of gauging what your thoughts were for that percentage. And this was actually, it's 30%, but some of them look like a little bit more because I rounded them to the nearest 5 or 10 so that it wasn't an awkward number.
Annie, how do you collect these? Or, I mean, do people come in with a card that's?
Yeah, so they register in the office and then we issue them a card and then we're verifying the expiration date when they come in. And so, again, with our new system, we're really excited for just better tracking and reporting, but it will be a key fob that they will actually scan, and a picture comes up. So similar to what you see in like gyms and maybe other facilities. So that's exciting.
I did want to add, I know it's minor, but to me, it was needed. Pool active military, I think reserving should also be included. I'm not a reservist anymore, so I'm retired. But I think it should be in there.
Oh,
'Cause we have a lot of
military reserves.
Yeah, we have a lot of reserve that live down here, so.
Okay.
The base at Home
Yeah.
they reserve base. So you'll have,
Oh.
the
I mean-
population from there is there's some active folks on there too, but there's a large reserve
Right.
contingent. About 1,200 or so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What is the traditional or common or what is routinely done? Is that a distinction? Is there a distinction normally in things like this, park fees, between active
No,
or reserve
we're just military.
military?
And you,
I don't-
you can't tell on the card, on your military ID card.
I don't think
There isn't a designation that says something different. So your active military card and your reserve military card will look identical.
Okay.
yeah.
So it really isn't.
I don't think we've had an issue. I think honestly, people have probably been getting in because I've not seen that distinction, but you're right to have it really identified as a written policy. We could, I don't see,
Add that.
yeah, I don't see that being a big impact. They're probably already getting in with what they're
Yeah.
showing us.
So this looks very reasonable. I had to do some math on my calculator to see what it really was, but even looking at, and I'm only on the resident page, but the family up to 4 members for that proposed 290, that's less than $25 a month. These are all,
Yeah.
for what we have and for what is offered, that is, in my opinion, that's very reasonable.
And we did do research as well on other municipal pools and other locations throughout South Florida and about our rates and compared our rates to other municipalities and the recommendations are comparable. What we're
Mhm.
recommending is definitely not higher, not really much lower. It's kind of in between.
Pretty in line with the
in line.
region, and even with Jacobs. I think, yeah, I would agree.
So they still are reasonable rates. And again, we're a municipality, not a resort or
Right.
private club either. So it's kind of, you still want
Yeah.
to keep your rates, you know.
I agree with
Yeah, keep it
Shannon. I think
accessible.
I think the rates are quite reasonable. We have to remember what the facilities that we do have. It's not just coming into the park and then you pay for the pool, but you have the beach, you have the dog park, you have pickleball, you can play tennis, all without any charge. So I think just with all of that that's included, I think the rates are quite reasonable.
I still question it, but yes, I agree, except the Monroe County fee, because basically what we just did is a bait and switch on them. So it's the same as it is now, right?
This is, okay, so this is the resident side. We can move, if you guys want,
Oh,
to go ahead and move into
Right.
the non-resident
So everyone.
on the backside.
So is the committee comfortable with the rates for the residents? Is that kind of consensus here?
I think
Good.
I
Okay.
would vote.
Okay,
yeah.
All
so
right,
then
that's good.
that is good. Okay, so now on the backside, you're looking at your non-resident fees. And it was the same thing with the 30%. So looking at those, so this is where you look at the daily charges. And what we've proposed up top based on previous conversations and kind of what we hear too from the community, our neighbors, neighboring communities is having a discount. So I think our last meeting, we had drafted up a proposal and that rate was a little bit less. We felt that, I don't know that we should be lessening fees. So we did put for our Monroe County resident park only entrance fee to maintain what we currently charge, the $5 for youth or seniors and the $8 for adults. That's our current rate, but this would be for Monroe County residents. And they would show their ID.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna make mention of that when I first glanced at it and really put it in the form of a commendation. I salute you for that consideration. Yeah, I think Monroe County residents are somewhat kindred in a lot of ways to begin with. And I think that consideration that we would extend to Key Largo Marathon, our friends in Key West, sort of fosters maybe some reciprocation in the future, but I thought that was a good move.
okay, and then looking to the right of that would become the new total non-resident visitor. So non-Monroe County visitor that fee would increase from 5 to 7. And then for youth and senior, and then for the adults, it would increase from $8 to $10. So that would be the increase there. That was our regular daily fee. The column next to that, to the right, that is our holiday and weekend, our holiday weekends, again, including Easter, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day. And then our summer weekend operations, Memorial Day through Labor Day, that's our elevated holiday price. And so we'll see how you guys feel just in looking at comparisons and really to increase that fee just seemed really, it seemed to be a lot comparatively. And of course, we're open for your feedback, but that's just what we're proposing here. And again, we did increasing the pool fee to the 3 and 5. That's another increase. And so if that person was coming in for a holiday weekend, they're paying the 10 and 15 at the gate, and then they're coming to the pool and paying 3 and 5. So overall, they are going to pay more. It just seemed like that was a pretty steep already. Again, that's just from our research, but we are open to your feedback.
And I think maybe to start out is the fees right now are currently 8 and 5 for across the board for for non-residents. So
Right.
I don't know if the committee feels that if those fees should be raised. Do you think that is where we should be? And if not, then we got to start, then you start there to do a slight increase. And you can change even the Monroe County resident if you feel that that should change, as in if it should just be less. I mean, there's different ways of doing, increasing the fees or.
So what you're saying is, so where it says Islamorada Guests in Monroe County, park only,
Yes.
3 and 5 is the current rate.
Oh, you have.
Yes, no.
You have the old sheet. Did you bring that with you today?
I did.
Okay, that is an old draft.
Okey dokey.
We've done
No
some-
wonder I was lost.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
Yes.
sorry. That new packet has the updates.
Got it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the current fee right now for non-residents is 8 and 5. And from what we've heard, and is that that should be increased.
Right.
And so that is the first initial increase. So, and that's what we're recommending. If you want to increase those fees, that would be the increase, or you could go less, but it'd be $8 for adults and $7 for youth and student.
10 for adults.
10, yeah.
Okay,
So the changes are marked in red.
okay.
So that Monroe County is a completely new rate. And our thoughts were to just keep it what our existing rate is now and to increase for all other visitors.
So the comment.
Oh, I see.
So-
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no, so it's Monroe County would stay this.
Stay in
and
what we're
then-
currently.
Yeah, and then it would be like the renters would be getting the increase.
Anybody not staying in Islamorada and any other resident visitors. Monroe County, that fee would just be for residents, not Monroe County visitors or staying in hotels. That is purely just the resident discount. So that.
And
next
staying in
column-
motels. And,
That is only if we consider that change. So that's
Okay.
the difference between that
Okay.
last draft. It really read, we didn't want it to read that that's what we wanted that to be more of a discussion, not what we were proposing.
gotcha.
That was just an option. It was open, but
Okay,
we kind of wanted to tailor this a little better. So right now, that obviously because we would need to have more meetings about that policy. So that could maybe come at a later, but that could be an option. Our local resorts would pay the same that Monroe County residents would pay. So in any event, that next column would be all other non-residents, not staying in Islamorada, just day trippers, just, what is our regular, setup now?
mm-hmm.
Annie, do you have any projection if you took the revenue that is currently coming in with the current fees, and I just mean right now as a total, and move the same number of people into the new fees? Do you have a sense of what the increase of that revenue would be?
Yeah, I could do that.
That's assuming it all stays the same. I get that, but
Can we talk while she's doing
Can we what?
Can we talk while she's doing that? No, we'll let her.
Oh,
Okay. Park entrance.
yeah, go ahead, David. Go ahead.
No, just so in the whole line, so Monroe County residents, we've talked about this before, about doing some break. And I think from an 8.5, which is what it is today, we didn't really do anything, right? So we're doing, I get it. So I'm really wanted to propose doing something a little better than that for them to come up here from Key Largo, if they come here, whatever, make $5 to get in, whatever. I mean, from Key Largo to Marathon. Because this just looks like to me like, well, you didn't really do anything. You guys increased your rates and you left. I don't know. I just thought we should do something that.
Are you thinking about increasing them?
No. Just decrease.
You want
the
to
Mon-
decrease
the
them?
Monroe County residents. I agree with the hotel. I want to visit that
That-
because we'll
yeah.
get a lot more revenue out of that other side. But the guy that lives in Tavernier paying $8 that's not coming here right now, and then he comes, he goes, wow, wait a minute, you guys didn't do anything. You just didn't give me the increase.
Right.
That's all. So that was something I hope we can do something with the hotel resort, and that's gonna be a big money deal.
Well, what I'm hearing is there are really three variables that
Mhm.
we're dealing with.
Right,
One of the variables has to do with Monroe County or not Monroe County. One of the variables has to do with whether or not we do something with the guests that are. And then the third variable is the percentage that goes to the contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking at what is the overall revenue that is looking to be provided by those people who are using the park, those are the three factors that I can see.
Yes.
So all
Um,
three of those are worthy of,
And if it's helpful for you guys to look at now, I did put it's on the next slide. But in your pack, I did put our revenue accounts, the totals. Again, our system's pretty antiquated, so sorting out, well, in terms of, I guess, memberships and the contractors, but you can see here, with our park revenues, these are all of our accounts. So when you look at the park entrance fee, okay, that is all of our non-resident, those are our totals.
that's the 364,
Yes.
885.
364.85.
Right,
Okay.
and that's
that's
to
the-
today's, that was actually to yesterday's date. So we still have about a month and a week of revenue potential. So it's stayed,
About a week.
it's pretty well. But let me see so the projection I think would be,
I thought your fiscal year starts October 1,
About a week.
so you have about a week.
oh, yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Last meeting, I had it updated and there was a month left. You're correct. I did update that last column. I did update that yesterday. Sorry. Oh my God, I've been crunching too many numbers. Okay, so 8 to 10 would be, I guess, let's see what the percentage is, and then we could just
this is what.
increase that percentage. Right, to that number.
No, just to,
Yeah.
so what you're looking at is an increase of 20% in revenue back into the general fund from these sources.
Well, yes, from what's on paper now, not including if we were to start charging hotel guests in Islamorada, that's a
Right.
different number. But right here, a 20%
That's a
increase,
big one.
right, a 20% increase off of 36,000 or 364,885. So
Yeah,
another 70
70
grand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've been fairly consistent with our revenues. So I think that's a safe.
Yeah, so.
So,
How do you feel about the rate, the way the current rate is now? The adult 8 and youth and senior 5. Do you really think that should be raised? You know, is that something that you think that that park fee should be raised for non-residents? And that's probably a good discussion right there. Do you think that should be, stay where it's at, or should it be raised? And
I personally do not think it
Okay.
should be raised.
Okay.
And, you know, to what Dave was saying, and what I think is data that's very hard to capture with how we accept fees and things like that and check IDs, is what is the percentage of Monroe County residents that come in that are from Key Largo and Harry Harris and,
Exactly.
you know, that are here anyway,
Right.
you know, putting money into tennis and swim and
Right.
soccer and all these other things. And then they come for the weekend and they go, and now I have to pay more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's what I hear out and about.
Right.
So again, that would be one of those things. And I agree with Dave, if there's a way to maybe reduce that a little bit and maybe get that money back from the hotels, from the rentals, from another source of income rather than, because I don't know the number of people that come up from Marathon and Key West. And maybe it's a large percentage, but I don't know. And I don't think we know
Yeah.
in our data set.
That's the hard part
So-
with our system.
But I do know a lot of
identify.
folks from Key Largo, and all the way up to the bridge that come in that have families and pay for all the programs and then pay again for just to come out and
gotcha.
get their kids
So
outside.
if I have a child, if I live outside of, outside of the village, but I live in Key Largo, and I have a child who's in the tennis program or the swim program, what happens when I come to the gate?
Oh, you just say, I've got a kid, I'm going to tennis.
Yeah.
You don't pay again, but if you're just
Okay.
coming for a family day at the beach,
Okay,
not for an organized event, then you.
well, that's
the
another
entrance fee.
variable.
So,
If you have, and that may be having your program maybe a little bit better. If someone is actively paying for a child or people that are actively engaged in youth programs, then maybe they get a different rate on the weekend if they come in when the program's not, you know, they want to go practice tennis or they want to do something in the pool.
Yeah, that's what we've been about. I
Yeah.
think that's conversation.
So basically what Dave is saying is that for Monroe County, you definitely want to, you want to see like a good discount, not basically what we're doing now. So you would like to see maybe just $5 per person.
Maybe
across
going
the
back.
board. Not, yeah,
Yeah, we have options. The
There's options.
the
This-
previous draft was a 5 and 3.
yeah.
Three for the kids, 5 for the adults. We've also considered maybe just a $5 per person if you're a Monroe County resident. And then, of course, the pool fee would still apply. That applies to everybody.
So what is the charge now
So the.
for
the-
Monroe County resident?
Well, right now, they are in line with any other non-resident visitors. So it's
Non-resident, okay.
$8 for adults, $5 for kids or seniors. So what we had proposed, here was to keep them at our existing rate and raise it for every other non-resident visitor to that 7 and 10. But if that feels too high, I mean, we're open to, that's the
So-
feedback we're.
Yeah, so.
I like your idea of the 3 and 5. I really do. And I think anything that we would lose there would certainly be offset by the charges to the resort and vacation.
Vacation
Well,
rental?
come down here and spend $600 a night at a resort. I don't think they're gonna, turn around at the gate and head back, cause we're charging an extra couple dollars or whatever, $5, $10, whatever it is.
Or you could make it, I mean, you could make it super simple, $5 a person, it's free if you're under 10 or over 65, or something like that. And just make it very simple.
idea.
For Monroe County.
Yeah.
For Monroe County.
Let me write that down.
And
Consideration.
so I guess, does the committee feel that the rates that are right now for non-residents, the 8 and 5, should that be increased or just leave it the same? Do you think that rate is a fair rate at this point, or do you?
I think we're all going for 3 and 5. I think we're all,
No, for the non-resident.
For non.
oh, for
For
non-resident.
total.
Sorry.
Adding on to regular non-county resident,
Mhm.
that total non-resident category.
I like all of your other increases. I do. I think it's all very reasonable.
Yeah, and really, and again, these membership rates
That's
went
just
up with the
membership.
30% and compared to the daily fees. And that's really, these memberships, these are your locals buying this. This is not, I don't see that we have a whole lot of non-county residents buying these memberships. So these are really geared to our neighbors. And they're reasonable if you add up, how much it costs a family to get in here for the day, 30, to the pool, $36 a day versus, look at your 3-month and annual options. If you're coming here regularly, those are still very reasonable.
Well, even snowbirds, they're here January, February, March,
Yeah.
or, they're gonna buy the 3-month membership anyway.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So those, I think we do feel.
I think those
fair.
are,
It's that
are
daily
really
rate.
fair.
Yeah.
The daily is
Yeah.
but
I think
Yeah.
the dailies, I think, yeah, I agree. What your proposed new rates, makes sense. The only thing I want to make sure they check with the TDC that there's nothing weird
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
because I don't want to lose anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the touchy part of it is getting that other feedback.
Well, I don't
Because
think
we
it's
don't
touchy,
have.
just make sure, that's all. Like, just so
Right.
you don't get caught.
That's what I mean. What are the negative benefit or what would be the consequences of making that change and lessening that rate? Especially
But we're gonna raise like $100,000 by doing this. You know that, right? The
it would
resort.
be a substantial,
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
And then the other one was, we talked about this, was to keep the summer fee for the summer. I don't remember who proposed it.
Right,
But
okay.
15 and 10.
Rather than
No,
have
just
a,
keep it through the whole summer and end it Labor Day, Memorial Day to Labor Day or something like that. There was-
As opposed to just weekends.
Yeah. well, there
during
was-
the summer.
it Should be in the minutes somewhere.
yeah, you guys, somebody had made that recommendation. It's one idea, the impacts on during the week are really just not the same. It's not the same usage, so we felt that's kind of, that price might be a little unreasonable for, not that much activity and it's not an impact on space and,
But,
Or,
but
you
I
know.
think the assumption was people are coming from Homestead or wherever they're coming for the day on Tuesday. And you know what? They're using our facility. I don't,
Okay.
I don't see a problem with it.
I'm just letting you know that's how we thought. We're
Yeah.
open to the feedback.
Annie, who pays for the extra security? When we do have to have,
The park, we pay
Okay.
for that. We pay the general fund.
okay, so
pays the
regardless,
Detail.
regardless of usage, Monday through Friday compared to the weekend, is there a requirement to have security there every day?
Not during the
summer?
week, no, because it's not the same impact,
Okay,
just the
It's
weekend.
just the weekend.
okay. Okay,
That's,
so
you're
that's,
talking about all summer weekends
Mhm.
and holiday weekends.
holiday weekends.
Year round.
Yeah, yeah, the holiday weekends are only those for holidays. And then in summer, it's every weekend of the summer months.
Okay.
Because no matter what,
Well, we have to have we usually have police detail on the weekends.
We do it with, the rates are holiday weekends and all summer long.
All summer
Weekends.
weekends.
Weekends. Yeah. Not
Yeah.
during the week.
Okay, so where do we go next? And we're gonna lose Richie pretty soon.
So we kind of agreed with
So-
lowering the Monroe County rate to 3 and 5. And taking the rentals and charging them. If it's okay with the TDC.
I second it. That-
And the chamber.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think,
I
I don't
think
think
there's-
that one's fully fleshed out yet.
Yeah.
I think that one's probably we're probably gonna hear something from an outside.
I think it may be a good idea to get more public input on that from our chamber, folks, because.
Well, we know, the problem is, the answer, you're, because no.
Exactly.
I don't even know who to tell, or, it's fine. So that's where the chamber, you're right, we're gonna be talking back and forth. And is this a council?
This
decision?
would be a council
Council
decision.
decision
So
as well.
we have time on this overall discussion with these fees. I think we were looking at a date in October if it was something we wanted to come back. Hoping to maybe bring this to them in November if we can, you know,
So this
get
would be a
there.
park and rec recommendation
Mhm.
to the council.
Yeah.
Is there a consensus on that from the committee?
Well, let's
About the
try to,
resorts?
let's try to clarify it, because again, we've got these three different variations.
Mhm.
And I don't know whether they need to be separated. We got Monroe County, we've
Yeah.
got the,
Resort guests?
the resort guests,
And rental homes. This
and
would
then
be-
you've got, yeah.
Right.
So what is and then the objective is to be able to have the revenue from the park, which again goes into the general fund. It's not all coming back to the park, but there's that. And then how do you most immediately handle the split with your contractors?
Mhm.
Because that's coming up now.
Right.
And if the objective with the split from the contractors was to increase revenue, then if that's put into a bigger picture,
Mhm.
is there another way to increase revenue which does not impact the contractors, whether it is contractors of youth programs or adult programs? I mean, we got a lot of fuzzy stuff in here. Did I summarize that from what we're looking at?
I think it was a pretty good summary. Yeah,
So we
we're kind of
make-
throwing a lot at
Make a
you.
motion Just on the park fee side, and then we'll get into the,
So
Well, I think the contractor side is what is most immediate
That's
for,
what their immediate
for
thing
Annie.
is.
okay.
That's the big nut that we really have to settle on tonight is the contractors.
So because this goes into one pot and not many,
Contracts? So, I'm so sorry.
that's okay.
We're powwowing how to better to steer this.
All of these raises, did you need all of the increases that you've told us about to meet your objective? Or can we afford to not do or even decrease like the Monroe County one and not do the contract increase? Can we afford to not do that?
And that's what we kind of were just talking about is that maybe with the contractors, it's, yes, the agreements are, we need to finalize the agreements for next week. We could go in with the same 90-10 split, and then if the committee with further conversations, we could always amend the agreement if we decide to increase the revenue, the split. So we could go in with the same split right now and continue
Okay, I
the
just want to make sure
conversation.
that
maybe next year.
Or maybe next year,
Exactly.
because we do want to talk about the
The
pool
pool.
project and so forth. So
Yeah.
we could keep that split the same right now for this year and look at different
look at the
ways
other-
of generating different
Right.
revenue.
Right.
And there are ways of generating different revenue that we haven't even talked about yet, so. Because if the committee really feels that, strongly that these contractors and the programs are really a great service that we're providing, and we want to keep them going and keep the program strong, then just keep the split the same right now.
I mean, especially with like the dive instruction, I'm looking at $8,500.
Right.
You know, she's spending a lot of hours
Right.
building this program. I think it would be wrong to ask her to take 5% less. But all the same, I don't think that you can go contractor A
Yeah.
gets 15 and contractor
think so
B
either.
gets 10,
Right.
That's probably not.
I
the
think
good
it needs to
move.
be across the board
Yeah.
and if we're trying to build these programs and keep the kids involved, I think it's important to keep the 1090 at this point in time at least, until maybe we get better accounting and we can figure out other ways to increase revenue.
Good.
Yeah,
That's,
I think it's
that's
good.
a great idea.
It does, the only thing it doesn't fit is the village manager's thing that we gotta create a business. That's what I heard. That's what I heard out of his conversation,
That were what?
that we have to be more business oriented. Oh,
Well, I don't hear this as not
Yeah.
being business oriented.
good.
No.
Yeah,
Thank
no, I see this as having
It's the over,
a
right.
bigger picture of where else can
Right.
revenue be
Yeah.
created to allow for a continuation of the same agreements that we have with the contractors.
Yeah.
Is that-
The only ad I was hoping for tonight was a sliding scale for low income. And I know the contractors, whether they, I don't know if they're gonna like that, I don't know, some of them, it won't even affect them. But some of them it might, you know, for tennis or for swim instruction.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that's tough. I mean, the programs here, because my kids are involved in a lot of these, it's not expensive. And so for the contractors to decrease that charge even more
Yeah.
is pretty significant. I think there are other ways to go about doing that via scholarships or grants or things like that, rather than, that's my opinion, just because I know that they're not making a lot over, the top of.
I do believe there's scholarships through the pool group. I think
Yeah.
Friends of the Pool does make scholarships available to
Mm-hmm.
certain people. I don't know about the other programs and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
the specifics, but I do know that that is a part of what they do.
Yes, Friends of the Pool
A
for
couple of other
aquatics.
things that, and forgive me, I am gonna have to leave. I've got another commitment. But relative to this conversation, we have situations like that at Coral Shores, and I was able to work through and it isn't applicable here, but I was able to work through the Ocean Reef Community Grant. They gave us $20,000 for hardship, so no individual, no kid would be precluded from any athletic or co-athletic opportunity. And while I don't think they're going to underwrite this because we're not a nonprofit, there are grants out there, I feel relatively certain, that would handle hardship cases like that. The other thing I was going to say is, I'm glad that we're not raising at this time, but when we revisit that, I would certainly like to see us consider Dr. Weir's proposal that the increases are at the adult level rather than including the children's level as well.
This is Christy. Can I have two things I want to add. There is a program, I know that, the kindergartners, the last 2 weeks of school, the kindergartners at PKS and Key Largo School, both, they get 2 weeks of swim lessons, paid for by a grant. And then also there are vouchers available for any kids who need further instruction beyond the 2 weeks. So there is, and I think it's wonderful, Rich, what you're saying, but like so I just want David really to know that there is, like, that need is being addressed in that way. And then also I need to disclose something. Kelly Cater is my cousin, the dive instructor. And when I just need you to know that, because we're talking about the fees, the split. And when I brought that up, I didn't even remember that she worked at the park in that way. So I just need you guys to know that, full disclosure.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And it's the foundation. I'm just getting a text from Lisa Taylor that it's that the swim instruction is paid for by multiple people, but a lot of it comes from the Keys Children Foundation out of Ocean Reef.
Yes, and they hold that program here. This year was the first year they held it for PKS. So that program is still being offered. There's also a state grant. We do have a local swim instructor. She works for the health department, and the state is doing a similar program with a voucher system. So we certainly have that information as well.
Yeah, maybe it's just more marketing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
two people I know, they don't even speak great. They work down at Chico.
Yeah.
They live in housing down there. I happen to see them, I'm like, we gotta get your kid going. you know?
Yeah.
They just said-
Certainly in the aquatics, it sounds like there's some things. The others, we would need to explore further for the other sport areas.
Yeah, and I also want to acknowledge that between the three of you, you do a ton of work to make these programs happen. So we do see that, from an administrative side. And so I think that's, as we're talking about, no, let's not go 90-10. That's not saying that what you do is not worth the.
Oh,
increase.
absolutely.
So
No,
just so I
absolutely.
say, make sure that I said.
Yeah, thank you.
And the other piece of that is, we've got all our good ideas over here with grants and scholarships, and we know that the burden of finding and doing and writing also falls on you. So we know.
Thank you.
So, so let me give a time-sensitive possibility because one of our members has got a commitment to leave and we will still have a quorum. But what I'm hearing is of the multitudinous things we want to work with, the one that is the most time-sensitive for you right now is the renewal of the contractor agreements. And what I'm hearing is that the group is inclined to keep the current 90-10 split with the intention that there are other revenue sources that we will continue to be tapping into as we revise these fees and also look at who's eligible for them. Does that, did I say that right?
Perfect.
I think
We
that
got the
works.
Direction.
Okay,
Yeah.
then do we need to have a motion that that is one thing that we have agreed to or no?
I don't necessarily think so. I think if we have a consensus, it is at the manager level decision. So I think that
Make it
works.
easy.
Thank you.
Here he comes, here he comes.
Maybe I can speed it up because I've been listening. I think we understand the contractor thing can remain at 90-10 and just move on. Because when you look at the actual numbers, it's not going to generate that much more money compared to some other ideas, especially the one about charging hotel and vacation rental people. So if y'all can do the other stuff, I think we can forget that one. Even though it is a good business decision, we understand the complications with the children and the contractors are working very hard. So
Yeah.
I personally would have no issue with just leaving it as is.
Okay, and we don't need to do anything more official. We've agreed to it and that we can report to the council that, and that you guys have that. Okay,
Perfect.
that's
Thank
great.
you.
Then
That's
we've,
great.
then we close that one. Then thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Richie. So where do we go next?
Okay. Well, I guess to summarize where we're at this point, and again, we don't have to make a decision on this tonight. We can continue if you, okay,
Please let's do that. Let's give it
Okay.
to the council.
okay. Well, then I guess going.
I like the resident rates.
Okay,
I think, I think those are all reasonable
For memberships,
for resident,
for
residents.
memberships.
the whole page.
The whole page.
The whole page. Yes. Okay, so then back to our non-resident discussion, the Monroe County resident rate, we are at this point feeling for the adults 5, for the youth 3, is that kind of the consensus? And then we had left off on the conversation, do we feel the existing rates should go up for all other non-resident visitors? Or do they stay the same?
I vote they go up.
I,
I vote they go up and we look into the resort and,
Yeah.
yes, I think they go. up.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree. Go up, look into the resort because, the daily seems a little steep, but look at the 3-month membership.
Mm-hmm. Right, so if you're staying in town just up the road,
If you're staying for a month, it's worth your while to buy the 3-month.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are feeling good about the 10 and 7 rate. Is that,
Yes.
okay?
Okay.
Now, the holiday weekends, and then every weekend through summer, that rate, that's the 15, adults for 15, youth and senior for 10. We were thinking to keep it the same. What are your, are we in alignment with that, or how are you guys feeling about that fee?
15 and 10 is the current rate,
It is the
correct?
current rate.
Okay.
Again, just for those 4 holiday weekends and then every weekend during the summer months.
Yeah, and then just increasing the pool rate
Right,
to 3 and 5 because they're already paying 10 and 15 to get into the park.
right. So
Correct.
then when they go to the pool, there's an increase there.
Yeah.
That was kind of our thoughts on it.
Good.
I like it.
I'm good with it.
Keep it the same.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's strong enough for those times and if they need to be revised, but we know what happens on the weekends. We know the weeks are pretty flat. And we know that a lot of times it's day trippers, so I think you've got that.
Yeah, because look at the 3-month membership fee, you know. Park only for one day is $7, but for 3 months, you only pay 40.
Right,
You know, that's very reasonable.
right.
Okay.
So we're in
Is that,
yeah,
is it, are
so
we in
that's
agreement with the,
comfortable for everybody for this, for the non-resident. And the only question is the non-resident Monroe.
The renters.
Well, that's the next thing. But okay, well, so that's included in the Monroe. Okay.
yeah, the Monroe
Yeah.
County, it sounds like everybody's comfortable with Monroe County resident, not Monroe County renters.
Right.
Like short-term rent, not the same policy that we have with Alamorada. This would just be if you're a permanent resident and your ID shows that, you get this rate.
Well, and I would actually be inclined to say that if I'm a Key Largo resident and I've got a kid or two that are in active programs, I think they can come in when they're not in a program, but let's not get complicated. Let's
That's
not feel
way
bad.
too hard.
No, it's not. You don't have a program to handle
Necessary.
that.
Way too
You don't have a program to handle that. So
No.
what we need to do then is understand what will be the procedure or protocols or presentations that need to be made to whom about a proposal to change the free entry of people who are either renters or hotel guests or Airbnb types.
Right.
We
And
have
how-
to check with TDC and the
Well,
chamber.
Yeah, and the chamber's gonna push.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure we're involved. I would just say that we should be involved in it, in the discussion, or at least, we voiced our opinion to the council.
Right.
Either way, it doesn't matter to me, but yeah, we're definitely gonna get pushback. That's not a question.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I would imagine that we'll probably have to have a meeting in October to kind of regroup on everything and
Mhm.
kind of clean it all up, bring it back. Let the chamber know and all our stakeholders and have more conversation about it, if that's okay.
So do it at this level, do that meeting at this level
Mm.
versus taking it there, okay?
And what is the procedure that a hotel guest has at the gate? How do they get entry?
They would show their reservation, so they can have it either printed or on their phone, but the reservation that shows their name, the dates of their stay to show that it's valid, and obviously at the Alamorada location or address. So same thing if they were renting a home, Airbnb or
Mhm.
rental home, some of them have lease agreements because they're here for a little longer. Others, they show it on the app. But same thing, we just see the proof of stay and we actually make them a card we call the guest pass that has all that information easily on a card. That way it's very easy for them rather than searching through their phone every time and holding up the gate. And easy for our staff to see it really quickly that they're valid. So that's the procedure.
Let me ask a real question. Where does Legoland fit in this?
They're part of the same policy.
Yes, and everybody's gonna have to get involved in that.
Yeah.
Because there was agreements, I'm sure, made and all kinds of stuff like that, yeah. And to me, it doesn't make sense, they're not residents.
But they own.
So if you're not a resident, yeah, owns, of course, they have a driver's license that's 33036, sure. But if they're here for a month and they rent their house out back and forth.
It's a renter, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they'd be under the same policy. If you,
Do we have, or do you have a proposal in mind of what we might charge or what the park might charge for admission for this group? Just as they ask.
For
As you guys-
renters?
As you go back and have discussions, do we have something?
Well,
for them?
I think we were kind of feeling that maybe our Isla Mirada renters would pay that same Monroe County rate. So it's a discount for staying in Isla Mirada. That way we are collecting some revenue. So that was our thoughts, but we're open to other ideas, how we've discussed all of these other options.
I think that's a good idea.
I still
They'd
think that would be significant, even if we've decreased it a little bit.
And someone who's like at it, that has that's here for even a couple of weeks, it's worth getting a 3-month membership, isn't it?
Seems that way.
And if you feel that that's too low, we can look at those percentages again too. We're open to your feedback.
Well, I think we introduce it at the lower rate to ease the chamber through.
So in my negotiating style, I would introduce it at the higher rate and then our concessions. would
Do
be still low.
concessions.
Yeah, concession. But that's just me. I don't know.
So what do you propose, David?
Well,
If
they're
you're
not-
going to the chamber, what do you propose?
They're non-residents, they're coming here, they're here, they're staying in the hotel, and they would pay the non-resident fee because they have amenities at their places too that they can use. That's why they're paying. So they want to come here, they should pay the non-resident fee. You know, you stay in Homestead at a hotel and you come down, same thing. And, but I agree, I think what'll happen is that's what would happen. We would concede that and go, you know what, you're right, let's do it at the county level. Just an idea.
I like it.
All right. We're going to be stepping into something and I don't know who we're stepping into. I don't know.
I believe her name is Judy.
I wasn't going to say anything. Okay, so where are we?
So,
We've taken care of your contractors' fees. We, in general, agree with the resident, the resident
Resident.
chart
and the memberships, I think.
and the memberships on the resident side. We, in general, agree with the non-resident excluding the tenants of
Right.
local places, right? And are we is there a change in the Monroe County suggestion?
Yeah, it sounds like we are suggesting the $3 for youth and senior and $5 for the adults rather than the 5 and 8 that we had there.
Okay,
So I think if that's the consensus, we're good with where we're at. The only other factor would be the consideration of the Isla Mirada Hotel Resort and Rental where they factor in, which may take another meeting to allow for more input.
and I would guess that the amount of revenue that is so-called being lost in the contractor side by not taking another 5% will likely be balanced by just this adjustment in fees here, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
I would think.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
I would
Yeah,
certainly,
it's significant. I
think
mean, we only
so.
looked at one category and times that by the 20% and that was.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So-
if we added to that, in terms of the overall revenue
Right.
budget,
Right.
a new revenue source for the general fund can be adjusting the fees for non-residents that are staying around here. Does that summarize it?
Yep,
Mhm.
no, I think we're good.
I think so. We
Okay.
do have a
We
few
still have
more
already-
categories to look at as well. If. what time is it?
7. Yeah, we haven't,
Yeah, absolutely. I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
ask, will you?
Uh, First off, the village is a member of the chamber. I attend almost all the events. I was, Councilwoman Richards and Gillis and I were both at the lunch today. I go to all their lunches, most of their business after hours. I'm pretty familiar with most of the members. When you say the chamber as a whole probably won't care. I think specifically you're talking about hotels. And we deal a lot with the hotels. We actually, one of our council people, as you know, owns a hotel. So I would say my recommendation would be just go ahead and make your decision on what I actually suggested, going and charging the people, for example, vacation renters and the people staying at the Chica Lodge and all that. I don't think they're really going to have a big complaint about paying what we're recommending. But I would say go ahead, and if you think it's a good idea, which I do, I would go ahead and recommend it. And then I'll find out before it gets to council because they have final approval. And if it's a big pushback, more than I anticipate, then we can always adjust it at the council level. But for today, I think you're making what you think is best for the park. And I would agree with the discussion that I think it's reasonable to charge vacation renters and even hotel guests, because I don't think you're talking about that much money, truthfully. So,
Right.
but if there's a pushback, I'll take the pushback. Don't worry about it coming back. I'll just take care of it at the next level. But I do think it's a good recommendation from staff that did a lot of work on it. I just don't want to keep delaying things because we're worried about what somebody might say. If they say it, we'll deal with it.
That's great. That's very helpful. Thank you very much, Ron. That's very helpful.
Thank you. I endorse that.
I third that.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, then that sort of completes that part of your presentation, right?
It does, other
Certainly
than
gives
that,
you
the rate,
clarity.
if we were going to charge them, again, is the committee feeling that they would be at that higher rate, or are we honoring a discount?
You
Where did
mean
we land with that?
whether they would be Monroe County residents or whether,
Would we treat those vacation rentals, and hotel guests, would we be at the total non-resident rate, the 7 and 10? Or that's where we want to be?
7 and 10.
Okay, perfect. That clarifies it for me. Thank
okay,
you. Okay,
great.
I'm sorry. This is terribly long. Okay.
do we want to come back with facility rental?
Um,
How's the committee feeling right now? Do you want to continue on with the facility rentals and special events?
Yeah, let's do it.
okay.
Get
Okay.
it done.
Well, and I think
These
you
are-
can definitely give us updates on the pool and the playground and yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
let's see if we can zip through these. They're
But
pretty
yeah,
easy.
everybody's read through the large and tiki huts and
You guys are feeling
Yeah.
good with that?
great.
You
great
read-
idea.
Well, so the difference, though, there's a few, hold on, we don't want to get too far. So. I know, okay, let's try to speed this up. All right, so currently our policy is just a reminder for everyone. We do not allow for any commercial use of village-owned parks or beaches unless outlined with an agreement, contract, lease, licensing agreement. So there's no commercial use. It's charitable organizations or residents. So our pavilion rentals currently are the large pavilion, $50 for 4 hours. We require a security deposit, maximum of 50 people, and it's village residents only. So one of the ideas, again, to increase revenues would be, should we open that up to non-village residents to be able to reserve? Is
So-
that something we want to consider?
I would definitely make that a very large, because weddings, I know, right?
Mm,
We don't allow for
Yeah.
any,
I get it. It's, we all know that, okay, that we don't allow, but I'm just
that's our
saying,
current policy.
be careful. That's all. If we do the non-resident thing, that's where we've kind of opened it up, even for 2 people who want, hey, I want to rent this out. I'm gonna have a little ceremony on the beach.
I agree with that. I vote no. If I had a vote, I would say no, not opening that up to non-residents.
Okay.
I agree with Christy. I would not open it up to non-residents to be able to reserve. They can go to Harry Harris
Okay.
or Miami.
Okay.
I agree.
Everybody's
Great.
agree?
Okay.
Okay, that
All
makes it easy.
All right.
Okay, and so the only increase to that, we went from 50 to 75. Again, this fee has been in place since we've opened. So we thought that was an appropriate increase
For village residents.
for village
We'd
residents.
like to, this committee think that we should be raising the rates for that. Right now, it's 50. we recommending to raise it to 75.
It's less than $20 an hour for the pavilion. That
Mhm.
seems reasonable.
For residents, yeah.
I can be
Yeah.
behind that.
Okay.
Would anyone be opposed that, I mean, 4 hours is a long time. $100 for 4 hours? I know you said 75 to keep it down there, but $25 an hour? I can't go anywhere for $25 an hour for a party. I mean, that.
Yeah,
would
usually
really-
it's
yeah.
Right.
kid's
Open to
birthday
it.
party or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, people are spending a lot of money on.
I mean, I
birthday
hope I'm not
parties.
getting daggers from all the
No,
people
I
listening
don't-
to this right
Oh,
now.
no, yeah.
Well, again, we're talking about our village residents who pay taxes and, yeah. So
I mean,
we
if
thought we
I-
would raise them, but not
Yeah.
too much.
If
Yeah,
I
I
got-
know
We would be open to that too. It
Community
makes sense. It's
recommendations,
an
so-
even number, $25 an hour for the rent.
So
If
think
I
it's
got
reasonable.
anything for 4 hours for $100, I would do cartwheels. Cause usually it's like $500 for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I think I would say 100 is what I would do.
Yeah.
Having paid for a lot of kid birthday parties.
The price is right.
Make it 97.
Yeah, take them to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. Okay. Is would
I can
everybody
get
be
behind
comfortable
100.
with $100?
I can get behind 100.
And what we could do is maybe create, if residents only want to rent it for 2 hours, just create a hourly rate. Yeah, an
Right.
hourly rate. Is that-
Yeah.
We could do it that way.
Okay. So we'll do an hourly rate of. just-
Should be 60 or $65 for 2 hours.
Maybe
of
just do
100.
Is that
2 hours
smart?
or
That
4
sounds
hours.
Like work though,
No,
you guys.
Enough,
All right.
Not with their new program.
Because some
Not
people-
exactly.
yeah, some folks, they only want to rent it for 2 hours.
Right.
Just to have a quick little gathering.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna work out that way, though. I think somebody will say they want to rent it for 2 hours, but stay for the 4 hours. I would say go for $100 and make it a 4-hour minimum.
Maximum.
True.
That's what I meant. Well, yeah, 4 hours, right.
They get 4 hours, whether they use it or not, it's the 4 hours. And
That
that's,
includes setup and cleanup.
yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
what it is now. You get that.
Okay.
We don't do it on an hourly.
Yeah.
And marketing wise, you'd make it $97, but don't get, don't get fussy.
Okay.
Okay.
So consensus is keep the existing structure with a $100 fee. Okay.
Yes.
And no non-residents.
And no non-residents. Okay, all right, and then the tiki fee is very similar. We basically went up $25. They're smaller, we only allow 25 people, and actually the small beach tiki is pretty small as well, so maybe make that a 75, or is the 50 still reasonable?
What is it? Where's the other one?
We have the playground tiki right now. It's butted up to the playground, and then there's a small tiki on the very end of the beach. So there's 2 tikis.
And one's bigger and the other one's smaller?
One's slightly bigger. One has, I think, 3 tables, and then the small tiki has 2 tables.
I like 50. Now you're consistent with you've just you've doubled the price from
Make
25
it
years ago.
60 because it's not half as small. I mean,
I just know the people that ran it, the little baby parties over by the thing, I think
They're
$50
gonna-
it's. about-
Yeah.
I know, not Chuck E. Cheese, but.
Okay, so
Yeah,
50?
50 is
50's
fine.
okay?
I'm good with 50.
Okay. Okay.
And 60, they have to find another 10. Yes, nothing has 10s.
Oh my gosh. Okay, moving on, pool facility rentals. All right, so currently we do offer residents to reserve the pool space, not for, they don't necessarily, I mean, the public is still, it is still open to the public during these visits, but we'll reserve 2 tables for their party space. If it's at the splash pad, again, they use the table space, but we do not shut it down for other members of the public. So therefore, we really only charge them the pool fees, and we'll take a tally of their guests and they pay on the way out. So there's really no fee to do a pool party, but we do have them pretty regularly. And the impact is that, sometimes they leave a little bit of a mess, and we have, or sometimes may need extra guards, we realize, based on the party. So having it set up to where there is a structure for that. So, and then the field trips too. We want to keep a consistent fee for those pool parties and for field trips. And those, again, they're only open to village residents and local civic groups and schools to plan your pool party. Again, we only will reserve the table space. The visit can only be 4 hours max. Areas remain open to the public. For private parties, no more than 25 people planned. Field trips, we can go up to 100. We do require a little bit of a deposit, but we wanted to make the fee a straight $5 per person. So it's elevated when compared to our daily pricing. It's a little bit elevated for the pool, but that will offset, knowing they're coming, bringing in the extra guard, planning for cleanups, potential like that. So that would be the straight fee. And then again, the other idea was, would that be open to non-residents? And non-residents would have to also pay the park entrance fee.
No.
But I think based on our other ideas that might not be. Okay, so
Annie, are you saying $5 per person for field trips? Like, I mean, if Plantation Key School has a field trip, which they have plenty of, to the park, most
Right.
of those kids are members. I mean, they're all members anyway. They would still get charged $5 a head?
yeah, in our plan, I mean, it's hard to distinguish that with these groups. So we've always just charged the fees we have in place.
I
So
don't
again,
like
for
that because for,
and the extra details on our end that, for setup, scheduling.
what if
It's
there's a fee instead of charging because I know that like this is one of the most reasonable field trips that the kids can have at Plantation Key School because they don't have to take a huge bus ride. It's not, it's the bus rides are it's expensive. Could there just be a fee for the extra guard and a fee for setup instead of charging per head, or does it all come out in the wash?
How much is the guard?
I'm sorry, how much is the extra guard?
Well,
It's probably overtime.
Yeah, it's
No, I'm saying
There's
it's probably
other-
pretty pricey.
typically and this is, we've done research too through other municipalities, and this is what they do is charge flat rates. They don't have extra fees for lifeguards and so forth. It's just a clean rate. It's a clean way of doing it. Lifeguards, you're gonna have to factor in where they're gonna factor in their hourly rate.
No, I'm agreeing on
Right.
$5. I was just trying to make the point.
Right. No, 'cause we would-
Factor in if it's overtime. if it's-
right. Which guard are we talking
Yeah,
about? Because
so
it
it's-
ranges, their pay ranges, and then if it's overtime and, in our
Sometimes we
existing.
have to bring in 2 extra guards.
Right, depending on the number of people with the field trips. And they're still paying the pool admission fee. This would just, it just keeps it cleaner, like you said.
All right, just an idea.
Well, this fits into the category of the park operates as the park. And what we're trying to do is support the general revenue to support the park. So you've got to decide how that's going to look best. Bring in another guard. The general fund is not going to oversee your decisions on when you need another guard.
Right.
That's your job.
Right.
John?
I would like to say, I would support any additional fees that you propose. People may not realize if you bring in a large group of children of varying swimming ability, you have no idea how stressful it is to be a lifeguard when all of a sudden 25 or 30 or more kids dump into the pool and some of them can swim and some of them can't. It is quite stressful. It puts a stress on the guards that are already there watching the people who are already swimming. I think any additional fees are certainly worth it. It increases the number of necessary guards beyond what you might imagine, simply because, as I say, you dump 25 kids in the pool all at once. They're all over the pool from the shallow end to the deep end, and some of them may not be that good at swimming.
Yep.
Trust me, it's worth it.
Yeah, the field trips, we have to do swim tests, so it does require multiple guards. So those are a little bit, yeah, bigger
There
deal.
is a big impact on the pool.
Right.
When we have field trips. And, maintenance, keep cleaning up after the school groups. Again, like what Annie said, they all have to be swim tested. We buy life jackets too for a lot of the kids who do not know how to swim. We have life jackets available for those kids. So there's a lot that goes into the field trips. And we think, $5 a child to come in for a field trip is pretty reasonable. And I understand that they do have to pay for the buses and so forth, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
we were still trying to keep it reasonable for, our school groups. But I do agree with some of Christie's points
Yeah.
too. You can look at it that way where you're just, either way, we would have to charge a per person fee, but then tacking on, whatever fee we're gonna call it, a facility use fee. This just seemed a little cleaner.
And basically, it's really only $2 more, no, wait a minute, it's.
Well, if we're
No.
charging kids $3 a head, it's increasing that by $2 per
$2
person.
per person for
specific to field
So
trip
it's
or
really
pool
not
party.
that Impact, I don't think.
I would say let's support the decision you guys have made.
I agree.
You guys have thought
I
it
agree.
through.
Okay.
Thank you.
I agree. Is there still the question about whether or not to open that up to non-residents?
I think it was decided no, correct?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Like
No
that.
to non-residents.
No,
yes, we decided no.
Yeah.
Probably across the board for.
It sounds like that's what we're leaning toward, right? Okay.
All right. And then the next level would be our pool team rentals. This is our visiting college swim and dive teams. And that rate, again, going up 20%. And this is consistent with what other pools are doing.
So
So,
this is a 20% increase from 2007.
this one may have been adjusted since.
I think it's about, I think around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while since
It's-
we
that
increased it,
seems-
pool team
This
fees.
seems reasonable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's, like I said, we've compared to the municipalities and this is the average rate, so.
I would also encourage the committee to endorse that too, because these teams come in the winter. And even though the keys don't really get cold, it can be unpleasant for that poor lifeguard in the dark at 6 a.m. sitting in that stand watching. I mean, the college swimmers aren't going to drown like the little kids I referred to a minute ago, but still, they're either standing on the side of the pool or in that stand, cold, it's windy, it's dark. It's worth it to make sure that we have adequate funds to support our guard staff, because Anna's done a good job of building the numbers, but we still have guards that are out due to illness, and it is still perpetually challenging to staff our lifeguards. So I would certainly endorse that.
Bottom there would be creating a seasonal team fee. So this would really apply to the high school. Or if any other local school did create a swim team, having that rate.
So right now, the swim team,
There's no charge.
There's no charge for
No
the swim
charge for the swim team to use the facilities.
Right. So what, you feel that should stay the same or create this seasonal team rate? We did not come up with, we're still actively looking at what comparisons are for that fee. But just generally getting your.
Microphone.
I'm so sorry. I don't know how that went off. Okay, so again, for Christy, we're looking at that bottom new seasonal team fee, which would include space for the high school swim team. They currently do not pay any facility fees. So looking at what the potential for that fee would be, if you feel we should be charging So that's would be a new item. And so we're still currently looking up what other pools do in this scenario where a high school doesn't own their own pool. So this one we may have to come back with a recommendation,
We
but
will have to come back if the committee feels
Yeah.
that it's something that we should.
How big a number are we talking about? Just like,
We don't know, and this is,
no, but it's like hundreds of dollars
many-
or thousands?
Oh,
what is it?
Know how many kids?
kids,
oh,
I think he has around 30 kids and it has increased. So it's,
This is a school board thing?
this would be a school board
yeah,
would
so
pay for the fees.
pay. I
Right.
don't know if the school board charges the kids in the program. I don't know how that works when it comes to high school sports.
Right.
Maybe
And
Stan
that's-
can.
Yeah, and
speak
that's
on
an
that.
interesting one too. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think, I pay a fee for every school sport that my high schooler plays in. And it depends on what it is, cross country is something, it's like $80 a kid. Soccer is more because now you need gear and you need other stuff to go with it, but I don't think paying for the field they play on or the course that they run, that those funds come from somewhere else. So that just something to consider is we think about the medium that they're competing in, if they pay for that.
And that's why it
Mhm.
was,
It comes back
Yeah.
ultimately to the parents.
yeah, I think it does come back to the parents are having to pay, right?
Yeah.
But.
Well, no,
again,
because you brought up the point that it's the field they play on. So it's like the baseball field. Like the
Right.
County.
Or the soccer and lacrosse over here, as opposed to the baseball field. Let's go with the stuff that we have the groups. So do those groups pay field use?
No.
Youth organizations do not pay fees to use the field.
Okay.
But this high school sports, so that's why I would be going to the school board. I mean, I don't know what the number is.
okay.
I'd probably investigate what Key West or Marathon does.
And that's what we're doing. That's why we're not really, it's something that
It's
is something that we were brainstorming about. We don't know what the fees are for these other schools. And that's why we need to bring that back. But it's just a good
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, and just, what's the revenue lost for those hours that they practice? Is there wear and tear specific to those seasons, things like that?
Mhm. And swim meets too, the impact that it takes for our lifeguards to set up the pool and break down and all that. So there is a lot that goes into hosting the meets that are here. And also providing lane space
right.
for the team to practice. So there's a lot to
And
it.
that might
Lifeguard
be-
staffing.
Staffing, yeah.
That might be a separate discussion too, if there's,
Yeah.
for the actual meets, because that's what we pay for, especially for cross country. I'm paying for the entrance fees into their races. So maybe something like that. There's a
Fee for the swim meet,
actual, for the
for the
actual
competition, right? Okay.
I would think if this is county high schools, that we should look at what is the model from Marathon and Key West.
And I know there's a lot of schools in Dade and Broward also that do not have their own pools and they're using their municipality pools. So we'll bring this back to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Goodness. Okay, so these are some ideas for new fees for pool rentals that we aren't currently charging or even allowing. So one of the things that has come up, and again, in consideration of could we program more things and non-contract, not our independent instructors and ongoing programs, but there are organizations out there that have a need to use pool space, free dive instructors, other specialized swim instructors that teach, mermaid, even like Anna, our pool supervisor. She is certified to teach mermaid classes, which is a form of free diving. And We also, lifeguard instructional classes. All of our certified lifeguard instructors are on staff and it's hard to run those courses. So if there was a non-employee that we wanted to have run it, they could charge for the class. Water safety survival courses, even the Coast Guard does training here. So looking at renting out space to those type of entities. And again, we have a general policy of the park that we're not open for private business and commercial use, but maybe in this pool, smaller scale, easy to manage, and it would be a scheduling factor. Could we create revenues and allowing for additional rental space of the pool? And so these are the rates, these are consistent with what the Jacob Center does. So we were looking at that as another possibility, and it would really be a scheduling factor. And this would be probably the only area we would recommend any kind of commercial entity renting space
I'm sorry, the only area of what?
of the park that we would encourage commercial use.
And
then
that would,
If that makes
private-
sense.
Private instructors, like if someone else says, for instance, like what Andy said, we have in-house lifeguard training instructors, but at times we do have outside instructors that want to come rent the pool and provide lifeguard instruction classes. So that's what we're talking about, like outside instructors to come use the pool.
Whereas we don't want to contract with them, how we have our other instructional services, because then we're managing the registration, the income, and having to pay out. These would be kind of,
I'm saying like a liability issue here, like, because their contracts, they're all vetted, we have insurance, we do all that.
we would still require, and
Okay.
there would still be insurance requirements for sure.
Okay.
But it's just a different setup where they're just paying a straight rental fee rather than we're collecting their revenue and doing their registration and handling their payments. They would just pay us a straight rental fee. So this would not be like an ongoing program. This would be, hey, I want to do a free dive class. Do you have space in your pool to accommodate that?
Natasha just texted me that she had to get off.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I think we're,
Good.
well,
Still?
Christy's on.
Christy's on.
I'm
Okay.
here, I'm here.
So this,
It seems
an
like,
idea.
doesn't it
go ahead.
I feel like David too, there's some liability here, like to make $30, $30 a person for 4 hours. I don't know, and we'll be inviting. I don't know, I guess if they had the insurance, forget I said anything. I'm still listening.
That's okay. No, we welcome the feedback.
And
It-
we would definitely require insurance and also make sure that they have their certifications, that they say that they, all these instructors definitely need different certifications in it, whatever their field is. If it's free diving, they have to have a free diving certification. So we would make sure that they have all that. So, or if it's free diving, or if it's whatever their certs are
These
required,
are-
we would make sure they had it.
One-offs, infrequent use, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a lot, no.
Okay,
No.
so,
And again, it's based on availability. We're not going
Mhm.
to schedule these type of activities when we have our own activities going on. It would be during different, quiet times and so forth.
September.
Yeah.
The Coast Guard brings their
Yeah.
new recruits in every once in a while and
Okay.
they'll take them to the deep end and go over
Okay.
some basics.
Yeah, so, I mean, for instance, like what he just said, the military train, the Coast Guard, they use the dive end of the pool, we're reserving space for them at the dive end, and then sometimes they use the shallow end, so it's an impact on the pool. And, but again, they're there during slow times, and so we would make sure that it's not a major impact to our ongoing programs. let's say.
Right.
Yeah.
And in like our local, there's a need. I mean, the only pool for free dive operators to teach their classes is the Jacob Center. And we know there's so many of them. And I think in this scenario too, we have a contract for a free dive, but it's not, it would be something we probably would end that and move to this type of rental because of the infrequency. It's not really an ongoing, it's not set up the same way as our other programs that are ongoing, regular So it's a service that I think is needed. The community likes to take these type of safety courses and again, just another way of producing some revenue, but within balanced use so that we are not overcrowded and not infringing on other programs. So,
Yeah, I would say this is one to tuck away on the side when you need it and not,
yeah,
not sit there and advertise it.
right.
Just having an avenue to be able to offer it and have a fee to actually charge.
Yeah,
Right.
They have a fee for it because sometimes these things come up, people come in our office and ask, oh, can we do this? Can we do that? And we're like, well, we really don't have fees for this.
Right.
So this is kind of be able to have the
Kind of
option.
freelance
no, that's good.
activities.
Activity.
Right.
Not saying that we're going to do it all the time, but it's an option.
Well, what I would say is the general fund cannot complain that the pool and the park is not endeavoring to create revenue to support themselves. Again, remembering we're not separate, but I
Right.
think this is really good, supportive, thoughtful ideas from you guys to maintain the, maintain your balance.
Mhm. Okay. So generally, we're
Okay with that?
feeling okay with that?
Yep.
I endorse that.
Okay.
I definitely endorse the pool locker rental. I think
Yes.
That's very smart.
Okay. Awesome. We currently don't have, it's just by day use. You lock it, you're supposed to take your stuff out. I think I think people would take up on this program. So,
Thumbs up.
okay, wonderful. Okay, and then into facility rentals. We're almost there, guys. Okay. So currently our athletic facilities, basketball, volleyball, pickleball, tennis, multi-use fields, softball, baseball, and our golf driving cage are reservable by youth organizations. Otherwise, first come, first served, outside of those program use. So we do not charge any of our youth sports programs, and we do not reserve them now for residents. We recommend maintaining that, again, with some of the conversations we've had regarding the youth sports. It would just come back to the family. But we have had requests for private party use, so sport themed parties out there. So we were just kind of thinking, keep it in line. We could offer that and set up a rental for that use and consistent with what we do with our other, the pavilions, basically. And that we had said 75. If you agree with that concept, we could keep it at 75 or bump it up to 100 to be consistent with the other recommendation.
I
For
like the
the tennis and pickle, is that one court? You'd have one court for $75 with a max of 50 people? Doesn't, or would there be, I think there have to be different maxes for the different.
Right. For the different facilities.
Yeah.
Yes. In general, for our overall balanced use of the courts, we do not program we try not to program more than two. Each area, we have 5 courts, let's say. So the instructors are not allowed to have more than 2 courts at one time unless it's a special event. So I'd say probably 2 courts. And these are usually pretty loose. I don't see the pickleball area being a party space. Really, we've only had the request for the ball fields for kickball parties and t-ball parties. So
Because of pickleball. So you can rent 2 courts for $75 for 4 hours?
that's it. If we were going to allow a private birthday party type, not general come out and play
They don't do
pickleball.
it now.
We are not
You kidding?
looking.
It would not work.
No.
No, this would just be, okay, you want to have a kids party and they want it to be pickleball themed. It would be something we have not had that request. Again, the field parties, we've had kickball parties and we've had no avenue of charging. So the benefit to charging with any of these rentals, one of the policies, if you're a resident and you're reserving this space and you're paying that fee, if you have guests coming in that are not residents, they're not charged the entrance fee. So that's the benefit of reserving the space. So that is one thing to think about.
Maybe leave tennis and pickleball out of it.
I agree with
Okay.
that.
That, yeah,
No,
I
I like
mean,
it.
I agree. It's it's a little harder to, they have a little more demand for those versus the fields. So we can get on board with that. Everybody pretty.
David
feels
wants his birthday
good?
party at the
Yeah.
pickleball.
He's definitely having a
I think-
pickleball birthday
We
party.
get about 15 minutes together and we'll
Okay.
just have a birthday.
No alcohol
Later.
Oh, dang. He's-
shucks.
He's moving the party.
party.
Okay, well, that works, yeah.
I'll sneak it in. I have rum cake.
No, won't do tennis or pickleball. Too much demand.
Yeah.
That works.
And I only say that because Reese is doing it down at Give Reese. and
Okay.
it's killing them. They're
Oh,
out.
no.
Because you got too many people, they're just taking over the pickleball courts. They're
Yeah.
renting them out, $50 an hour. Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
Oh, no,
exactly.
that's bad.
yeah,
Okay.
they're stopping it.
Okay.
That.
Well, I think that's fair. I think it's really, again, we mainly get the requests for the other areas. Okay. Okay, and then all other areas and amenities are only available for reservation by local charitable organizations in accordance with our village-owned parks and special events. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the community center. So this community center space is only available for community meetings and village-sponsored programs due to we share it with, it's the council chamber. There's a lot of, it's hard to have parties in here, so we don't offer that. And currently there's no charge for reserving because these again are youth sports, non-for-profits and government agencies. So there's no charge for that. We're not really recommending changing that.
I agree.
Okay. All right, so then we move into that concludes phase one of our fee structure. The next conversation would be for our special events. And again, I think this one was going to be need a deeper conversation and explaining the policy and our special events policy has been in place since 2007. It was evaluated by this committee. Some of you may have been on the committee at that time. We did have a workshop and this committee weighed in and all of the stakeholders. And at that time, it was to keep the policy consistent and the fees consistent. So if we're, looking to revisit that, I think it would again need all the stakeholders and another conversation, but just for some background, this is how our policy is laid out. It's based on event size. So our large event category is 1,000 plus attendees. They pay the $950 per day. And then any days that are used for setup are $250. And so our three major events here, large events category, the Nautical Market, Island Fest, and Holiday Fest. And then our regular events are from 501 to 1,000 attendees. They pay $650 per day, plus the setup fee if it requires the day before or after, or day before setup. And right now, the only one that fits that category is the swim club's invitational swim meet. And then the other events are kind of 101 participants to 500. And that's a 250 per day. And so we've listed those events with the number of people that those usually bring in. So the number of those. And then our really small events, less than 100 people, we just use the facility fee, our existing rental fee. Special Olympics stand-up paddleboard competition happens at the beach at that pavilion, so that's appropriate. And then we do a number of events here, as you know, and we do not charge ourselves or our co-sponsors for those events. And that's Beats on the Bay, July 4th celebration. We have our trunk or treat, which is coming up October 25th, Spring Fest, National Night Out, Fire Rescue Barbecue, Give Back Barbecue, and then our local Keys Community Concert Band events and our Teen Night Out. So that's kind of the scope of our events. Again, we probably need a deeper discussion and really, and even looking at the overall policy, it does describe times, windows for certain things. So I think it could use a revamp, but again, we don't have a recommendation on what the new fees would be at this time. And considering it's only open to charitable organizations. So looking at the impacts and what that would do for them and how much they're, it's really a service that they're providing here as well as what they're bringing in, they're giving back to the community.
Yeah.
So there's a deeper conversation for that.
Annie, I think you and Maria have done a fabulous job. I really think you guys have put a lot into this. You've drawn out a lot of the loose ends that haven't been covered.
Mm-hmm.
You've made really thoughtful recommendations. And I really acknowledge what you guys have done and thank you for bringing this to us. And thanks to the committee for taking the extra diligent time to go through it.
It's a lot.
Right. It's a lot of information, but
Yeah.
I got a really good
Feedback.
feedback
good.
and some really good guidance and. we'll move
So do
forward.
you feel like you've gotten from us what's helpful for you? And anything that are loose ends will come back to the next meeting?
Yep, I think so.
Okay,
So,
Is there, and I guess next week, Marina, is that? or-
The marina?
Yeah.
no, we still have the two more
We have
things.
2 more things to cover
Got it.
and
Okay, sorry. I was looking.
Well, like we said in the beginning of the meeting, the marina is a private it's an enterprise fund. And that is not something that is going to be covered under our direction. I think the manager is working with the marina staff on those fees.
So it doesn't fall underneath Park and Rec.
Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't come under the Parks and Recreation.
no.
Were you going to still give us a brief update on the pool renovation?
So, for the capital projects update, I'll start with the inclusive playground project. So we're ready to move forward with that project, and it's starting in October 1st. All the budget money has been, set up for that. We have approximately $600,000 to go towards that project. There's also TDC funding that was, a grant that is included in that. I think the grant was for $497,000. So we got a good
Nice.
amount of money from TDC. So we're going to be, starting with, the design and the installation and all that. So we're still working on that. So, that project is moving forward. The pool resurfacing, and facility improvement project. We received, 2 qualified bids for that. We actually have our evaluation meeting tomorrow with the evaluation committee at that tomorrow morning. So hopefully at that meeting, we will be selecting a contractor. And once we select that contractor, we will be going to council with that recommendation. And that'll be in October's meeting, so October 7th meeting. If everything goes well, we will be making a recommendation to move forward with the contractor.
What are the dates that you kind of have scheduled for
Yes,
this?
and if everything goes as planned, then February 1st will be the date of starting the project. And the timeline is approximately 4 months.
And my request is that there be a penalty, there be a very clear date finished.
Yes.
And if it is not, there will be a significant penalty, because anything that goes past Memorial Day is like toast.
It is in the agreement, and I looked up there that there is, stipulations in the agreement.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and along with that project, we will be reaching out to the Jacob Center about our programs, and maybe the Jacob Center can work with our contractors on pool use and so forth. So we will be reaching out to different the Jacob Center, and then also reaching out to local resorts that have pools that maybe they can do something for our residents, have some memberships available for them. But once we know that this project is definitely moving forward, then we'll start those conversations. So we'll bring that back. Another thing I did want to mention that's not on here is the Wall of Fame project.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that we have a subcommittee on, and I have some bad news to bring, though. We did intentionally have it in the budget to cover some of the costs for that. But with the budget, conversations and everything, it was, in the budget, we had budget cuts as well. That funding was taken out of the budget. So there is no funding for that project, but that doesn't mean that the project, we're going to not continue with it. I think, we're going to regroup in October and have discussions with the subcommittee about fundraising efforts.
What's the number? What was the budget?
We originally, I think we put in 15,000 and that was removed.
Maybe if we're able to increase revenue from one of these other
Right.
sources, that can be a contingency,
Yeah. So,
because that's really pretty modest.
but there was a lot, the budget process was pretty involved this budget and we had to tighten up spending. So that was something that
Yep.
it wasn't a necessity. It's a great thought. It's a great project, but I think through fundraising, we can still get it done.
Yep.
And that's what we'll bring back to the committee and we'll start looking at that.
What is the date of the dog park? Whatever is going to be done, dedication?
Uh, the
Is it
second
is it dated?
Hopefully in January.
Okay,
Yeah, so, and that's gonna, I believe the mayor will probably give the report next, at the meeting, at the village council.
Okay.
meeting. So they're working on that. But the dedication looks like it's gonna be postponed until January.
okay. Anything
That's it
else?
from us.
Next meeting?
How about future meeting
Yes.
date?
I have one real quick, sorry, I know
Sure.
I've been here for a very long time. Is there, I don't know if we can do this because I don't know all the rules with how this piece works, but is there any appetite or is there any ability to move the priority topics of our meetings higher up on the agenda? Like before the emergency agenda additions or deletions? Is there any way to do that just so that, we talked, so when we talk about our priority, which today was all the fun or all the fees, we didn't get to that until we're about 45 minutes into the meeting. So
It's because Ron talked to me.
is
Because I invited Ron to fill us in.
that wasn't a passive aggressive hit at Ron. But I don't know if we can or not. I don't know if there's some sort of guidelines that says we have to do it this way, but I feel like if we can get to what we want to get to earlier, that might make us a little more effective.
Well, I'll take partial responsibility for that because I wanted to I wanted to fend off what had taken all of our time before, which was the turf conversations. And to get an update on that because it is very much a part of what we're dealing with, but I wasn't sure if there might be some, public comment on it just to try to diffuse that. So that was not going to be a current topic, but I think what Ron brought us up to date, well, I think that was important and I concur. I mean, when you get to, public comments, I don't know where those belong, but
Well, I think I like them where they are. I just know that, and not specific to the turf versus grass versus, those discussions we've had a lot, but there have been other meetings where, someone will come in with something very different than
Right.
that, and then we get anchored on that for an hour.
yep,
Yeah.
And we don't get to what we were actually planning to talk about.
Yeah.
So
no.
I don't know if there's a, way to move the emergency or addition, deletion stuff to.
I think
The end?
for clarification, for emergency additions and deletions, we could simply, if something comes up, move it somewhere rather than discuss it right then, place it
At the end of.
at the end. So just organizing it differently. So if there's a need, there's something we definitely need to discuss tonight. It doesn't necessarily happen at that moment. We can prioritize it within the meeting or say, let's put it on next meeting.
Mhm. No, I
Maybe
think
doing it that
that's-
way, because I do agree. It's kind of been kind of open and everybody just expresses that, thinks that's urgent and we have to talk about it right now, but maybe deciding that it goes somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. And I think Ron and take responsibility for diffusing, trying to
Yeah.
not get tangled up in the turf conversation tonight, had it become, you know, a broader thing. So, good ideas. All right, next meeting date?
We said.
We discussed October 22nd or the 23rd, October 22nd or 23rd. So what we can do is, Alicia will send out.
That's
she'll
a
send out an
Wednesday,
email and
that's a
see what the
Wednesday or
consensus is.
Thursday,
Yeah.
right? I can
So,
do either one.
just to-
Wednesday's good.
That meeting, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we keep them on Wednesdays. Oh, there's some-
Yep, that works. That's true. That's true. Who can?
Ted, he always says he can't do Tuesdays or Wednesdays, he can only do Thursdays. Really? Yeah.
Okay, I guess see what you get back
Yep.
in response from
We'll
the email.
send out,
I'll
send
send
it
it
out.
out and can't make it.
Okay.
And then, just, so we are going to bring back a concise fees, bring back all the fees, the mission fees for memberships and all that. And then, also special events, we're gonna discuss more about special events, and then what else? That's it?
The admission policy for the
Oh, the-
hotel and rental guests,
Okay,
along with these fees cleaned up.
cleaned up,
So that will be,
and whatever else we need to discuss. Okay,
That works.
at least that'll be part of the agenda.
yeah.
I think John is moving to adjourn, would you?
No, I'm not. I'm just changing my seat. I'm listening.
But you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do that. I nominate John to move that we adjourn unless there are any objections.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Really.
You guys
I know
are
it was a
just
lot.
are
Good night,
fabulous.
thank you.